Well, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is David the Samoan Watchman. Peace and blessings to you all. Talo Falava and Alofatu. Thanks for stopping by. I know it's a strange time for me to go live. It's 2 in the morning. We're coming to you live from Las Vegas. And finally got a time to relax. Some of you guys might know I'm out here for a family reunion. Tonight was our first night. And such a blessing, you know. A little bit frustrating to get to this point, but you know how it is, man. The buildup of it and the preparation of any big event, especially involving so many different people, uh, with a lot of hands on deck, it can get a little frustrating, and people, you know, tempers flare. That's an understatement. And but you know how things go, man. When things like this happen, as soon as the event starts, man, it's kind of smooth sailing. You know what I mean? You just got to get to that point to where we started off. And yeah, everything is, I'm blessed. It's my wife's family, and it's the first time they all get together. So it's pretty cool. And excuse me, I got to squash this cockroach. I'm out here, and this thing is bugging me. Yeah, no, I don't like bugs. Anyways, what a time, man. We got out here to Vegas, and we went straight into the event from the road, straight into the event from the highway. So I'm a little tired, a little bit achy, getting everything packed up and ready to go last minute. Got on the road and came straight to the hall. Well, can't say straight to the hall. We got off the freeway, stopped to get some whiskey and a cigar, and enjoy myself a little bit. But crazy ass weather, man. First of all, man, I've been going back and forth from Vegas to LA quite often the past couple of weeks, and now we're here for the big event, and I'm a little tired, but again, everything was good. Hope you guys are doing well. This is the weather. So first it was hot, man. It was like 106 degrees, and then this crazy thunderstorm showed up, and it was pouring like you wouldn't believe, man. We saw the flooding around Vegas coming in, and it was actually green out here in the desert. There's a lot of plants growing, grass growing out here in the desert, and that was good. It was cool to see. And the rain started right when we finished our first night with the family, and yeah, it was good, man. It was good. Tomorrow we're gonna Tomorrow's day two. We're gonna go out with the family and play some games, outdoor games and stuff like that. So looking forward to that. A little barbecue. Yeah, I say it's about 200, maybe 250, 250 people, maybe, maybe 200. I don't know. My numbers might be off. But I did my cameraman thing today, set that up and recorded everything. Finally got time to have to myself and relax, man. So came out here to have a little drink and walk around the hotel, casino for a little bit. I'm not much of a gambler at all. I don't gamble, so I just enjoying watching the family have fun and relax. As we prepared for tomorrow, hopefully the temperature stays down. It's actually quite nice out here tonight. It's a little warm, but it's cool. Anyways, wanted to talk to you guys because I had so many things that I wanted to address. I haven't been going live um, as consistently as I'd like to, and it's definitely today is a change of scenery. I'm outside the casino. Found a little bench to sit down and catch some air, and enjoy my little cup of Jim Beam, some bourbon, and yeah, man, I haven't been going live and just kind of stopping by everybody's. channels and popping in and out of people's chats and just saying hello. What's up, Salt? Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Glad you're here. I know it's a strange time for me to go live. It's not really my time. But this is all I got right now. I have a lot of screenshots back home on my computer that I wanted to share. I do need to put out another episode. Those of you who know my channel, you know that I cover a lot about the internet and how it's evolving and reading thoughts and showing me commercials based on things that I think about, based on things that I touch, and that's not cool in my book. I don't like that. I don't like that this AI or this demonic entity, you know, technological entity, that has found a new body in technology and amongst these frequencies, you know, to I don't think it's cool that they can poach and read minds. That's ultimate. Uh, what do you call that? Invasion of privacy. What's up, Zen Win? Zen Win Az. I don't. If you're in Arizona, Zen Win, I don't know how you do it because I think it's hotter out there than it is over here in Vegas. And Vegas is just stupid. This weather. I hate this weather. I don't know why we had a reunion in August. It's just way too hot. And tomorrow we're gonna be in the park, so I'm not looking forward to that at all. Trying to find as many ways as I can to stay cool. But my last my last live, I went on with brother Eager Television, and I brought up a point towards the end of that stream about frequencies, sound frequencies, and I was listening in. I believe it was yesterday on Austin Alice. She was talking about, damn, there's a giant rat running across the street right now. Holy smokes, that thing is huge. I'm sitting out here in front of the casino. That's great. That's weird. That thing is huge, like the size of my foot. Um, it's it's not easy. The summers here are yeah, that's an understatement. I don't know how you do it, man. Well, air conditioning, right? But can't pick it up, dude. Now this guy's gonna drag this cone. It's all super loud. Um, but yeah, I'm not a fan of the heat. You know, there's nothing you can do with heat. Just sit in AC all day, or jump in a pool if you got one. And I don't have either in our house. Just my room has AC. So I pretty much stay in my room as much as I can all summer. Which I know there's folks in the house that don't like that, but it is what it is. That's why I bought the AC, and that's why I installed it. Right? Yikes, rats. Yeah, absolutely, man. Not a fan. Not a fan of bugs. Yeah. I almost broke my ankle jumping out of a way of a bug. I once threw my wife at a June bug. Yeah, but frequencies, man, are pretty crazy. Now, this is me being conspiratorial, and you know, I'm the ultimate skeptic, and I question everything. And Austin Alice was talking about videos that are being shown to kids, and she said, you can hear sometimes the whispering. Now I know Disney does stuff like this, right? Um, back in back in the day of YouTube, where you could find anything, before it got super sensitive with censorship and everything, you would be able. Maybe you could still find it. There was that scene in one of the Aladdin movies. And there's a scene where they're on the balcony, and when she's talking to Princess Jasmine is talking to Aladdin. It was that scene where he calls her punctual, and she turns around. She said, "What?" But if you play it slowly and really loud, you can hear him say to her, "Take off your clothes," and he whispers it like, "Take off your clothes," like that. And she turns around. She goes, "What?" And so I don't know if that was made up. I don't know if it was a fan that made that and faked that, but there was that. But I wanted to talk to you about something similar to that. which just came up randomly when I was talking to Eager Television the last time I went live. So I believe that there's a lot of subliminal messaging. You guys know there's a lot of subliminal messages found in children's content, children's videos, movies designed for children. Um, and by the way, do not let your children watch the Prince Family on YouTube. That show is garbage. I mean, straight up garbage. It's supposed to be a children's video. You know, these YouTube families that do kids content where they're playing playgrounds and playing with toys and they review stuff and they do little scenes here and there and they act it out. The children do. And parents get involved. And there's a family called the Prince family. I don't know where they're from, but it started off with their children and now it's the husband rating the wife's sexy outfits. And so, it is what it is. They sexualize that big time. And she's like a Cardi B type. She's got the full body, and she's a good looking chick. But you know, she and her husband needs to do their own channel, not do it on the children's channel or the family channel, where she's like twerking in skimpy Christmas outfits, and he has to rate them, and it's extremely sexual, and it's not fitting for children. So, the Prince family, do not let your children watch them. It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm not sure why I still live here. Zenwen says, I love the cold. Me too. My sister still lives here. You should check out the latest from Michael or Michelle X and on YouTube. Okay. Never heard of her, but I'll check her out. She pretty much sums things up. Another 10 minutes on nanotech. All right, cool. Yeah, a lot of nefarious things. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. My children love the Prince family. It's really cute. It started off with the mom taking the two boys out to go play on the trampoline or swing or something in the backyard and play basketball. And they got the grandfather involved, and now there's some crazy videos that they got. Where the grandpa is in the shower with the wife with his son's wife and her twin sister, and they're all in bikinis in this glass shower, and they're pranking the husband, and the husband's getting all pissed off. And I'm like, wow, this is just ridiculous. This is like Girls Gone Wild kind of stuff, and it's supposed to be children's content. Like, that's bullshit. Uh, but yeah, you guys know that there's a lot of subliminal messaging, subliminal images that pop up on Disney stuff and other companies that produce children's content, right? And there was something that freaked me out a couple years ago. It was very interesting and kind of fun, but now that I'm thinking about it again, I'm like, wow, something up to this. So I don't know if you're familiar with the different kinds of frequencies. Oh, by the way, Davis Ministry put out a good video on the frequencies and what they're all about. So pretty much, music, radio, television has been broadcasted to us in a certain frequency, and frequencies can be very dangerous. They can be very helpful. Like there's I don't know how much of it is true, but some of it can be very healing. If music is played at a certain frequency, or movies are played at a certain frequency, it can grant it can cause relaxation and healing. Good vibes. Somebody put out a video the other day. I think it was Davis Ministry, where they were talking about how people are damaged when they're being yelled at or someone says something to you. Um, you know, Maybe in a negative tone. There's a frequency that's being carried out. There's power in your voice, in your words. There's power in the words that you choose to say. So you got to be very mindful, very careful about what you say and how you say it. Um, you could really, your words are powerful. The Bible uses so many references on how God speaks. Right, creation came when God spoke us into existence. When He said, "Let there be light," and let there be, the two luminaries, right, that light up our day and night. And so God spoke everything into existence when He built us, and we have. I'm not saying we have the power of God, but we have the ability to utilize these spiritual powers and spiritual forces, as far as transferring energy through your voice, right? So, let's see, Zen Wen says, yes, Tesla, everything is energy, frequency, vibration. Yep, absolutely. Good and bad. We are mostly made up of water, and water holds memory. Yes, there's something big about water. Water is a very mysterious thing if you take the time to study it. The one thing that a lot of people don't realize, is that when God created the heavens and the earth, He first moved over the waters. So the water was already there. So it's like He took water and built us all with that, right? And built all the world with it. So it's pretty cool. Something behind water, and that's why we got to be careful about water. We got to study it. There's something up with it. As a matter of fact, now that right now I'm in Vegas, there's something up with the waters because there's a drought and a flood at the same time. Lake Mead out here in Las Vegas is drying up. Many of the lakes around here are drying up. And then coming into Vegas, I was telling everybody, it's like, hey, I've been hearing reports of floods in Vegas, and they're like, what are you talking about? We get out here and there's storms, and it was hot all day, typical summer in the desert, and then all of a sudden these crazy storms came in and it was pouring rain like you wouldn't believe. Like, I'm sitting on this bench and now my ass is all wet because I sat down thinking like, oh cool, I'm gonna sit outside in this chill spot at the casino, and I said there's nobody out here. 2 in the morning, finally calmed down and I'm able to get some time to myself. um, and now my seat is wet, so just waiting for my pants to dry before I walk through the casino and go back up to the room. But yeah, there's something behind the water, so you got to keep an eye on the water levels, and this water that's coming down. So something behind it. All right. Um, let's see. Yes. So yes, frequency and words matter very much. Absolutely. And Sultan says hydromancy. Yeah. Yes. Hydromancy. That's one of the big ones, right? So there's something behind it, right? So we gotta look. We gotta pay attention to this stuff. Um, Water also shows these patterns, when a certain sound is played, right? And if you study Tartaria, the patterns that are in these cathedrals that are supposedly left over to us from a possible previous generation of people, they knew these shapes that are formed in water when a certain tone is played, and these patterns can be found also in the tiles of the ceiling. So it's like each building has a certain frequency or a certain shape that uh, resonates in these buildings. And if you look up and you see the tile patterns in these old style buildings, you'll see that it matches the shape that you find if you were to take a bowl of water into that building and play it. There's a word for this, but I don't know it. You play the sound, it'll show this shape while in the bowl of water, and it'll match the tiles that you see on your ceiling inside these cathedrals and such. But one of the things that I saw that cymatics, there you go, cymatic, exactly, that's what it is. I want to study that more. There's a lot to that. There's it's it's not being studied enough. You know, it's a nice old '84 Corvette that just came by. Um, yep, exactly. Salt. Zen's got it right. But yeah, the conversation that we had, tying into what I talked about with Eager Television on my last stream, and what Salt was saying, I mean, what Austin Alice was talking about with voices that she can hear, um, while watching children's programming, right? And there's the word programming. So, well, there's this thing. There's videos out there that have these sounds that are played in different frequencies, and they'll say like you won't be able to hear this, but your children can. And I tested it out, So they'll play a sound. It's like a beeping sound, and it'll say like this sound is played in whatever frequency, and adults can hear it. It's like a beeping noise, right? And then right, there you go. We're all connected. Absolutely, absolutely. All right. And so if you play this beeping sound, you can hear it as an adult, and then they'll play it in a different frequency, and then a certain age group can hear it, and the older ages will not. Um, and then there's another. They go into another frequency, and only children will be able to hear this. Now, I tested this out with my family, and I will play the sound with my children, and it's on YouTube. You can find them like sound. It'll just look up sounds that only children can hear, and I was playing it with my children, and I kept pausing it and unpausing it, right? And my kids, and I'll test it out. I'll say, okay, look, I'm going to play this sound, and when I play it, just let me know if you can hear it, if it's on, or if it's off. And I would pause it and unpause it, pause it and unpause it to test them. I didn't hear anything. It was just dead noise. There was nothing coming out of my speaker I could hear. But every time I would, and of course they can't see what I'm doing. But when I unpause it, they can hear it, and they're all laughing. It's like a game to them, right? And they'll laugh and they're like, "Oh, it's on," and then I'll pause it and they'll go, "It's off," right? And then I'll say, "Okay," and I'll try to trick them, but they know exactly when I'm playing the sound and when I'm not, right? That frustrated me that I couldn't hear the sound. Yeah, yeah, right. So get this, we know that they are out to confuse children. We know that they're attacking the next generation, and that's why it's up to us to be strong, to be full of knowledge, and to be able to discern good and bad and right and wrong, so that we can be a gatekeeper for them and protect them from these attacks, these subtle hidden attacks, right? And so I was thinking, I was like, man, it wouldn't be much of a stretch to think that these people who are out to program our children through their content, what if they play something and to us it sounds all innocent, but really there are voices being spoken in a unheard frequency where adults cannot hear it. You guys know how brainwashing goes, right? Where they capture the attention of our children. And if you have kids, you know that they get caught up in YouTube. They get caught up in these shows. It's real easy right now. A lot of parenting today, it's no longer wholesome. It's as simple as handing over a tablet, and the iPad has become the babysitter of this generation. Where in the past we used to, um, you know, have kids just sitting in front of the TV, and that'll keep them occupied while adults go and do their thing. But today, it's so easy to get access to information, this kind of program, because I mean, look how simple YouTube is. You can watch it anywhere. You can watch movies in the palm of your hands. It's mobile now. So what if they're playing, what we will see like a Muppet show, or some kind of cartoon. And I'm really mindful when I hear my children and they're singing songs that are catchy on YouTube, and I'll hear a couple bad words and I'll look, hey, I don't like that, and I'll tell them. And so my children know, like, if daddy doesn't like it, we can't watch it anymore. And they'll snitch on each other. I have them trained up. I'm like, Dad, she's listening to witch stuff, and I'm like, all right, turn that off. So I got them like being gatekeepers for each other. I don't like that word, but they're being watchmen for each other, which I'm grateful for. And they'll tell on each other like, hey, Dad, she's watching that wizard stuff and that you don't like it. And I'm like, hey, turn that off. So see, yes, they are trying to brainwash and control everyone, especially the innocent. Yeah, absolutely. So what if, you hear something that sounds so innocent, You know, children are watching videos where they're just watching other kids play with toys or watching other. Right? Oh, nice. Oh, I thought you guys knew each other. I assumed. All right, so cool. I'm glad you guys are making connections here. That's awesome. That's what it's all about. So what if they're watching something that's simple as playing with toys, but yet in the background, what we don't hear is, you know, what if someone was whispering to them? So I named this live Dangerous Whispers. Here we are thinking that they're watching something innocent, that they're just, watching children's programming, but yet in the background, in the undertone, in frequencies that we can't monitor, that they are speaking life of or speaking curses into our children's life. You know, um, my oldest is a teenager now, and I'm noticing a lot of changes in this last year, and I'm not happy about it. I am homeschooling, but there's children in the family that hang out with my children. They're family, they're cousins, and I want them to be close with their cousins and stuff like that. But there's a lot of bad influence out there because there's children in the family that are not being raised the way I raised my children, keeping them safe from such programming. There are other children that live regular lives, that go to a regular school in person, um, and get all the propaganda. They get all the fake narratives pushed on them, and I know that they don't understand what I do as far as keeping my children home and homeschooling, working from home so I can keep an eye on them. They don't understand that lifestyle. To them, it's strange, it's weird, and I know I'm kind of looked at because not everybody in my family is awoke to truth. A lot of them will look at the lifestyle that I pick for my family and maybe not like it, but I see the way that they are raised, and they are completely indoctrinated, completely immersed in the propaganda that is being pushed and peddled onto them. And so, I try my best to keep my children away from it. But one of the things that I am guilty of is, you know, taking the easy route sometimes when I get busy or when I need them to just stay busy so I can take care of whatever projects I'm working on. I'll, let them watch this programming on YouTube, and I'll keep an ear out. I'm like, okay, they're just watching video games. They're watching groups of teenagers play video games, and it sounds all innocent, but you got to be careful. And now that I brought that up to Eager, I was like, damn, you know what? I wonder if it's happening right under my nose. Right? I know that historically there's like always that weirdness you get when your children become teenagers and stuff. But I noticed that as my oldest is getting older, she's kind of breaking away from the the morals that I teach, and I'm happy about it. And yeah, maybe it's just a normal thing. She's becoming a teenager, becoming a bit rebellious, right? See, so it says exactly that concern by my son associated with yeah, with his cousins, different foundational values. Exactly, exactly. Now, I know it's kind of what's going on in my life is that uh, I fell for the whole left right paradigm. I fell for that paradigm, the this puppet show with politics and everything, and I voiced my opinion. And because the uh, I picked the not the unpopular uh, route, which I went conservative, and I spoke up about being conservative in a liberal state and a family that's mostly liberal. Um, they'll never respect things that I decide because, because I went that route. So it is what it is. There's broken uh, relationships in the family, and because of that, they're not gonna respect what I have to do, me doing what I feel I have to do to raise my children right. So there's that. So kind of when I am now, fully awoke and trying to warn people and help people wake up, but they don't hear it. You ever hear like uh, when people say, "Yeah, politics," exactly. You ever hear when someone says, "Don't pay attention to the messenger, pay attention to the message." Hey, I bring it every day. Welcome. How you doing? Uh, so I'm out here doing my live in Vegas at the casino in front of this giant building right here. Casinos are huge, man. I don't like staying in casinos. Usually I get a small hotel, but the family got a block of rooms out here in the casino, and it's too much for me. I'm not the casino type. I just like to walk around, chill, have a little drink, but I don't get all crazy or nothing. I don't party hard no more. People out here are strange. Though. I see people walking around with beers. This guy walking around. Yeah, this is like weird to me. I guess you can do it out here. But yeah, I was out here, had a little cigar, and some guy came and sat right here, and I just started up a conversation. Figure maybe I'll spit some game and flat smack somebody here in a nice way. And I was just like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "Excuse me," and he just like paid no attention to me. Just continued to smoke a cigarette and ignored me. I'm like, oh, okay. I was just like, I'm gonna bother him a little bit more. You're not the talking type, are you? And just no, nothing, no response. I was gonna ask him questions about the weather out here and how this crazy storm came in. Sin City, yeah, swear it is Sin City. Today was the first day of our family reunion, and it's pretty cool. Met some people from all over. Some family from Hawaii, Washington, Utah, Frisco, and we're the LA branch of the family. So pretty cool, a little fun. I might do a little live tomorrow at the park when we play games. But yeah, this that programming exists with frequencies. Denise Bundick. Hello, welcome. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. How do I do this chat? I'm not used to doing it on my phone. This is my first time going live on the phone. In case anybody wants to come up and chat, I'm just chilling out here, having a little cigar and some whiskey. But yeah, the weather was crazy. It was pouring so bad. Like I got some footage of the rain coming in. It was ridiculous. It was like a straight shower out here. And the lightning touched around us like 10 times. It was just coming down like you wouldn't believe. It's already gone. It was only for like an hour. But everything out here is soaked. There's evidence of some flooding all around the city, giant puddles, and, uh, just everywhere. It's so green out here in the desert right now in Vegas because of the water that's been coming down. Hey Denise, welcome. Yeah. So just chilling. The family's in there gambling. It's not my thing. I just chill. But yeah, that was on my mind about these frequencies and how they happen, how they work. And I had, my thought is that there's people that are under a spell, and the words that you speak really do matter. Like how Eager was saying the other time, there's a scientist who spoke to his plants, and he raised plants, and some of the plants he'll say negative things to them, and the other plants he'll speak something positive to them, kind of like rooting the plants on, and the plants grow healthy, based on the words that you use. And I thought that was pretty cool. I've heard about music that's being played that like hip hop will cause plants to die or not grow as strong as other plants where you play like classical or something like that. It's a little more soothing and the plants grow a lot stronger. Then he says, "Oh, we had that the other day here in Mississippi in the lightning." Wow, yeah, makes you think, right? I don't know. I know weather's being controlled, and I met a gentleman who I want to post my conversation with this guy. I met this guy who was a veteran, and it was by total chance. I was picking up a dress. I spoke about it once before when I first started doing lives. I went to go pick up a dresser from OfferUp, and for some reason, the address that he sent to me, this guy who I was buying a dresser from for $40. I drive half an hour to where he's at, and the address he gives me takes me to another house. GPS kept bringing me to this house, and it was the wrong address. And I'm knocking on the door. I'm like, okay, it sounds like someone's here, but nobody's answering. I didn't realize that there was a 84-year-old veteran that lives here at this house with his wife. And he heard me ringing the doorbell, but it took him so long to walk to the front door that I was already getting in my truck. And he comes and answers the door, and he comes out and he wants to talk. So I get out my truck and I go, "Hi, are you selling a dresser?" And he said, "No." Um,
Hi.
Welcome. How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm
I
doing.
get nervous.
Oh yeah, no worries. There's nobody watching this channel.
Stop. No, I love what you're talking about. And I was just talking to a friend earlier today about the whole frequency thing, and the agendas. And really interesting, if you do go, you have 10 minutes to watch that. It's titled Nano Nano by Michelle X.
Okay.
It really sums things up in less than 10 minutes. And she, you have to watch it too because she puts stuff up you have to read. But very interesting. It's what I've known for a while now that's going on, and it's just so nefarious. It's just, yeah, it's awful. And people giving their children smartphones at 2 years old is something else too, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
yeah. So, and I was watching a Disney movie a while back. It's made more for teenagers, but it was free on YouTube. I thought, oh, what the hell? I'll watch it. Excuse my language. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but I could believe the stuff it had in it. You're right. I mean, they're just showing children these bad things, bad habits, and it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disney is a big one.
Hmm.
Lately, I know they've been messaging and they've been you know the subliminal messaging has been there with Disney, but
Right.
it seems like these past couple of years they've like ramped they just going all out with the narratives.
Hmm.
The underlining scenarios. Like somebody who was it? I think it was West Blake Music. He broke down like every Disney movie and how almost all of it, if you break down this like the storyline, it was like almost every Disney movie teaches to either uh, leave God or be what's it called, rebellious to your parents. Like it
Oh,
was,
absolutely.
yeah, like he broke down like
Mhm.
Jasmine's role, like she was supposed to honor her dad and her tradition, and she broke away from that and completely dishonored him and didn't care what he had to say. And he's like, it's really subtle. It's really,
Mhm.
but it's all there. Like if you all the old movies, they break away from authoritative figures in your family that you're supposed to respect and listen to. All right,
Mhm. Mhm.
and every day says those movies. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they wanna break up the family units. They want you to, there's a very, I hate to say this, but there's a very satanic agenda going on too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's out there. They try hard. Yeah. And it's really important. The frequency thing is very important. And you talk about it too, television, television,
Mm.
programming. It's in the words. It's all there, you know. I don't even My sister gave me a big screen, flat screen TV a couple years ago, and I did not even plug that in until recently. I just plugged it in to check out a couple of channels. I haven't watched TV in like 10 years. But yeah, it's ugh. It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, if you have biblical values, if you follow those principles, it's all against it. This they don't defend anything anymore. Or
Mhm. No.
the laws we're supposed to abide by. Um, like I'm a Marvel nerd. I grew up with Marvel comics and the cartoons, and these days we finally, this is a nerd's dream to have these movies out, like X-Men and all that stuff.
Mhm.
All starts out like to capture the attention of everybody. And we become fans of Thor and Captain America and all that. But
Mhm.
really, these are false gods that we're idolizing, right? And then
Mhm.
it started off, kind of simple, sticking close to the comics. And then these days, now, if you look at all the new phase of the Marvel characters and the Marvel movies, there's almost
Mhm.
homosexuals in every new movie that comes out now. The super
Mhm.
are homosexuals, or they have two mothers, or and it's they're trying to normalize this stuff now that they've captured our attention. And Marvel movies are making more money than any other movie.
Mhm.
Now they just like, they just really cranked it up as far as the destroying of the family, destroying of
Mhm.
that strong, the stronghold of the institution of a family, right? The way it's supposed to be. It's
Right.
all being attacked. You know,
You're
so
you're you're so right. When you say they're trying to normalize it, that's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. And this, I don't know how much you know about this and stuff, but you look into it, it's all geared towards a transhumanistic agenda to joining AI,
mm,
and it's really scary when you think about it. If you don't have faith, if you have faith and you know what's going on, I mean, it's not so scary anymore. I try not to be fearful at all, but
yeah,
it's pretty disgusting. Like I said, it's pretty nefarious. You know.
on that on that point, it's like I'm the kind of guy now where that people don't even want to like engage in conversation, because I'm all about it now. Like, I'm not talking about no football. I'm not talking about any, in all these topics like that slap heard around the world. Like, I couldn't give a damn about any of this stuff. I don't follow the news and what they push. I'm all about truth and spreading it, and I'm like nonstop with my family. And people are just like,
Mhm.
okay, you talk to David, he's gonna tell you about some crazy stuff. I mean? So they all know me for that kind, because I'm like, we don't have much time here, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush anymore. We've already done that for so long. But it's like people that will reject the information, and the same family
Mhm.
that the information rejects this truth.
Mhm.
Things that I noticed,
Yeah.
just gonna flat out be like, "No, you're wrong. You're crazy." And then the others will hear me and be like, "Wow, I can see your points. I can see your why you think so. I can see, exactly what they can understand what I'm saying, and they can
Mhm.
together based on the information that I'm giving. However, they'll say, you know what, um, that's crazy. It's kind of scary. I don't want to talk about it." And I'm like, no, don't be scared. And
Right.
it's the same ones, like for instance, I have close family who, I mean, their children watch all the Disney stuff. Their children watch all the programming. They're big on that. They got the Alexa in the house. They've got that kind of technology around, and they're
Mhm.
exposed to it. And because they're exposed to it, they won't receive truth. And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Hey, you got to cut that off. And I just, at first I was just like, cut it off. Don't watch it. Don't watch football. NFL is gonna try to
Mhm.
brainwash you NBA is trying to brainwash you. They're going to push all the narratives, and they don't want to hear that because they love football, you know. And
Right.
you're like me, you love Disney, you grew up on Disney, you grew up on Marvel. You don't want anybody telling you like, hey, stop, don't watch it, because we love it. We like, we enjoy that stuff. I still like Marvel, but
Mhm.
point today is like, okay, I'm not going to be able to tell you to change your life and stop, completely watching Disney. But I believe that once you're aware,
Mhm.
you have the understanding. Okay, this is what they're trying to do. Then
Mhm.
at least they won't have power over you anymore. You know,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
they can
Yeah.
keep trying and trying and trying. But when you are aware, like my wife, she doesn't like watch truth like I do. I'm like hooked to watching YouTube all the time and trying to gain more information, trying to put all the pieces together in this crazy nonsense lifestyle
Mhm.
today. But I tell her stuff, and so she's aware. And so as long as she's aware, she can,
Mhm.
still listen to music, still listen to this kind of stuff, watch this kind of programming. But she's aware now, and
Mhm.
expect her. She's able to receive truth, because there's something biblical
Right.
about it, where God will not allow you to kind of to see this truth, because there's somewhere in the Bible that says because they hate the truth.
Mhm.
As long as you're under the spell from this program, right, which is what it is, it's programming, Hollywood programming, right, the magic,
Mhm.
uh,
Mhm.
the spell, and so
Right.
being aware will help you to break free from that, so
Yeah. All it is all connected, and all the words have frequencies to them. Um, I don't know. It's and what you were saying too, I understand. Like my sister and I are so different, and she calls me conspiracy theorist, you know. She thinks I'm nutty. So
yeah.
we just don't talk about those things, but it's unfortunate. But yeah, I don't know. I just try to do my best to be in a loving attitude and share love and peace and joy. And I know there's bad things out there and hatred and all, but I think it's an escape. Most people escape with all this other stuff. They can't deal with the reality.
Yeah.
It's too harsh. The reality is really not scary so much as I can't think of the word. It's not fun. Most people don't want to be in the reality. It's
Yeah.
not a fun place to be. But
you know
then again, like you said, if you have faith and you have love and you believe in a God and a higher power, then you're okay, and it's not so scary. Yeah.
that's what they want. That's what they want to do. Like, they allow us to have truth. They allow us to see
Mhm.
what we're doing. They're not necessarily hiding it so much anymore. But
Right.
those who don't want to hear it aren't. There's, it's going to happen right in front of them, and they're still going to be under the spell. But they want people, like I was telling somebody about stuff like Mandela effects, and at first
Mhm.
they're like, nah, I don't think so, I don't think so. But after I brought up a few points, they had to stop me, and they go, okay, look, you're scaring me. they're like
Yeah.
they're like, I don't want.
Yeah, see, I know, that's exactly it, and when I first started, experiencing the Mandela effects, I was like, "What is going on here?" And I could see where it would scare a lot of people, and they just turn it off. It's like using, drugs to cope with stuff because they don't wanna see it, they don't wanna hear it, they don't wanna feel it. It's too scary to most people, so
What's your favorite Mandela, or do you have any personal Mandela effects?
Ooh. Well, it's funny that the first one for me was Nelson Mandela.
Mm,
Um, I thought he died in the '90s. And come to find out, no, they had a funeral for him later on, and I'm like, "What? Did I d was" I just thought I was off my rocker at first. I thought he died, but I guess he didn't.
yeah.
And then the one that just flips me out the most has to be the changes in anatomy.
Mm,
And I was talking to a doctor who realized, you know, that saw the changes, and that to me was pretty confirming that there is something very bizarre going on, you
Yeah.
know? So, yeah, I would say the changes in anatomy to me are the biggest.
Like, you talking about like with the heart is in a different.
Mhm,
Yeah, that one is pretty.
mhm.
That one is pretty crazy because I remember. I think it was Grey's Anatomy where they cut somebody's heart open to make whatever scenario it was, and they cut right down the middle and pulled the heart out of the middle of the chest. I'm like, that's not where they taught us that the heart is at, right?
Right. Well, and if you think about, like, there's a couple things that make me, you know, realize I don't know, to me, it was always on more on the left side. Pledge of Allegiance, when you say the Pledge of Allegiance, you'd put your hand over your upper left
Yep.
side of your chest, and then I remember reading about sleep. I've always had problems sleeping, and it said it's best to lay on your left side when you sleep because your heart is on the left, and it gets your blood circulating through your heart better at night. So I'm like, "Hmm." I don't know. It's just interesting, and then there's the stuff with the skull, the orbital holes in the skull.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The
and,
only time I remember in the past of a skull that had the bone in the eye socket was the
mhm,
Goonies, right where they found the pirate with the one eye. They found his skeleton and they moved the patch and there was the skull that was the bone right there in the eye socket. That's the only time
uh-huh,
skull that didn't have holes. That
right, yeah, it's interesting, really interesting. What is yours?
Oh, well, I have a funny. Well, the big one that happened to me was when my dad died. When my dad passed away in 2019. Uh, I'm talking. I'm the oldest, and so talking to my siblings about preparations for the funeral and everything. And me and my sister, there's three boys and one girl. Me and my sister,
Mhm,
uh, and my youngest brother were like, "Hey, you already know everything's got to be yellow, right?" Because
mhm.
that was my dad's favorite color, and they were in agreement. They're like, "Yep, all the flowers, banners, everything's got to be yellow." And so, we're doing preparations. Sorry about the sorry about the noise. Right by the driveway of the casino, and we're talking about flower arrangements and all that stuff. And my 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 other brother, the one that's right after me, that's the one I told you that he's like, you know, all up in the programming. He doesn't believe anything I
Mhm,
say, and a big Disney guy. All his children are all this. So he just rejects any truth. He's the one that doesn't see that my dad's favorite color was yellow. So two different things happened. My dad's favorite color changed, and it
mhm,
was a shock to me because I'm like, okay, we're doing everything yellow. My brother, my mother, and my stepmom, they were looking at me like, Dad liked the rainbow. He liked all the colors. I'm like, no, no, no. His favorite color was yellow. And
mhm,
mom couldn't understand it. She goes, no, he liked the rainbow. He likes, we got to do rainbow stuff. I'm like, what
mhm,
about? I was like, why wouldn't we do yellow? My dad had a yellow Toyota truck from it was a '79 Toyota, and
mhm.
painted our whole apartment yellow, which we were like pissed because we all thought it was ugly. All of our yellow. He really liked yellow for some reason, and
Mhm,
that was just the thing. We grew up. My dad's favorite color was yellow. My mom's was red. Mine was blue. My brother Christian was green. My sister was red, and my youngest brother, I forgot what color he had. I think it was also blue, but we all had our own different favorite color.
mhm.
For some reason,
So you had a really personal Mandela effect. That's really interesting.
yeah. So my dad's changed and my mom's changed. Where
That's crazy.
yeah, and I'm talking to my mom. I'm like, Mom, your favorite color was red. Dad's favorite color was red. Was green. I mean yellow. And he
Uh-huh.
was, oh, my favorite color is not red. I'm like, what are you talking about? Your favorite color is not red. She goes, my favorite color is green. I go, you told me You love red and you hate green, because I bought her these green glasses one time and she was pissed. She goes, I hate green. So I never forgot that. Her email is Ruby. That's like her nickname, Ruby,
Um,
because that was her birthstone. Her
right.
favorite song is Lady in Red.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, how are you telling me you hate the color red? Everything you do is red. And Dad was yellow. And they just couldn't, we couldn't come to an agreement. So
Oh, wow.
the funeral was rainbow colored, except for the
Oh,
flower yellow.
gosh.
And I'm like, we're mourning. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm not going to make a big deal about this. And in my head, I just couldn't settle it. And I had a conversation with my brother 2 years later. And he's like, Dad told me, when I was hanging out with him one time, that he likes the rainbow and he used to like yellow. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm going to drop that, you know.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
just had today, earlier, today. So my cousin passed away. And I didn't know who passed away because I just saw a Facebook posts of everybody saying rest in peace. And I saw pictures. And I couldn't tell if it was my aunt that passed away or my cousin, her daughter. All right. And today it was, somebody confirmed for me and they were saying rest in peace, Joy, my cousin. I'm like, oh, so it was my cousin. But I was like, wait a minute. Joy passed away 4 years ago. Like, why? What is she doing? Like, why is everybody saying rest in peace to her right now? And I'm like tripping in my hotel room right now as we were just settling in. I was like, I know she already passed away. This is weird. This is really strange.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would have really affected me to have a personal something that personal change.
It's
But I've heard of people that supposedly had children and then all of a sudden they don't have children.
wow.
Or the opposite. They wake up, yeah, now that to me would be like I don't think I'd make it through that one. That's pretty nuts. I
It
don't
is.
know.
Louis Anderson died twice.
Yeah, that's another. I I quit keeping up. I guess after the first after Nelson Mandela, that whole thing, and then I started hearing about a couple years later about the Mandela effect, and I started seeing it. But then I was like, I've just gotten confused anymore. I give up on who's died and who hasn't, who's died twice or three times. It's like I just can't keep up. I'm like, mm,
The
I don't
strangest
know.
part is the people trying to explain what it is.
Oh yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
noticing gatekeepers in the community. And
Mhm.
I spent a little bit of time in one of my previous videos just telling people to be careful, because there are people that are big they're big on YouTube on that topic, and they're talking
Mhm.
the right things. They're presenting, factual
Mhm.
evidence on the Mandela, and they're one of the bigger names. However, there are people that they have on that come up on their panels uh, frequently, that are teaching this concept. They're saying God has abandoned us, and we're left to figure out this crap. And I'm like, wait a minute, like,
No.
abandoned us? And they're like, yeah, God just left. It's called cosmic abandonment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay, just because you don't have a strong understanding or strong relationship with God doesn't mean,
Mhm.
you can just tell everybody, like, oh, because of the Mandela effect, it's proof that God built this world and just left it here. Like, he quit on us. I was like, wow. We're
Well,
just,
you broke up a little bit. Say that again?
he pushes that God created us, and similar to
Mhm.
the Noah story, where God was mourning because of how evil the world has become, says that God abandoned us. So he created us and just left us here with a crazy world that keeps changing, like this Mandela, all the crazy changes that were supernatural changes that we're seeing. And he's saying like, oh, God made us and left us here. It's kind of like we're orphans, And
Hmm.
I was like, that is crazy. And I'm kind of upset because the person that's big in the Mandela is allowing this person to come on their channel and tell this huge following of people, God left us here. And I'm like, that's completely wrong. You know, you know, the
Yeah.
Bible says he'll never leave us, never forsake us. You know,
Mhm. You
So,
know,
and I'm not.
there's a lot to that. It's again, it's part of the whole, they want us to think we're very insignificant. And, I think that's a big thing for the mockery of God, I guess, which I
Yeah,
guess is what you'd say. And them trying to, you know, not let children grow up with faith anymore or believing in a God, or a higher source. I don't know. I just, my mind goes all over the place with that. But, I strayed for a while myself, I had a hard time. I grew up looking into different religions and all that. And, but I definitely believe that we are not insignificant. We are very significant, and there is a creator, and we are all connected. And I think with them trying to lower our frequencies and get us in a lower vibration, in a bad state, they're trying to, I don't know. It's hard for me to put it into words, but
I
that's
think you're.
the thing. We're very significant. We're very powerful. We're beautiful,
Yeah,
and there is a God. I'm sure there's a God, and a loving God, and
mm,
I don't I don't believe in him abandoning us in any way, shape, or form. So,
you're right. So
yeah.
all this craziness, it can cause people to stray away if they are not strong in their faith, and so
Mhm.
that's um, part of the reason why I decided to even talk about stuff on YouTube and create this channel is to encourage people. Because I don't know.
Mhm.
Not that I'm better than anybody else at all. I'm not. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I do know that I'm not perfect. However,
Mhm.
my belief in God, my faith in Him, is strong to where I just have this unwavering understanding. Well, like in my business, I'm one of the trainers, one of the leaders in the office, and they
Mhm.
see me go through stuff, and they're like, "Man, you just keep going, huh? You don't quit." And I'm like, "No, it's not in me.
Mhm.
Let things, you know, cause me to slip. I don't let things cause me to lose faith because one of my favorite stories when I used to preach was the story of when Jesus was on the boat and he was asleep and a storm
Mhm.
came and it's his best guys, his best guys that are on the boat with him. If anybody, that if there was anybody that you can count on to be one of God's best followers, you could say it was his disciples, right? They're with him, witnessing all these miracles and witnessing all the things that Jesus is doing. You know, you, you would think that you can count on them, but here they are on the boat, and the storm comes, and some of these guys are experienced boatmen. They're fishermen. They're supposed to be used to the waters and how rough it could be sometimes, but yet here they are panicking.
Mhm.
Claim their death. They said they woke up Jesus in a panic, and they said, "Master, we perish." They straight up called it, saying, "Hey, we're gonna die." You know,
Mhm.
and when
Mhm.
calmed the storm, the first thing he said when he looked to his disciples, he said, "Where was your faith? Where was your faith in your time?" Pretty much, questioning like, "Hey, the storms came, and yeah, Jesus was asleep." And some people would think like God's not listening. Some people would think God's not going to answer my prayer, that I'm
Mhm.
away from God, or even have this false idea of God's abandoned us. But this is the time, especially in those times,
Mhm.
you must rely on faith and have that trust and have that belief that
Mhm.
you're going to find, that even though it may seem to you like, okay, Jesus is asleep, he can't help me, he's not here right now, we're going to die. Jesus got your back, and then he's gonna look at you and like, you're over here claiming death, but where was your faith? You know,
Right.
my encouragement to people is that, yeah, I don't know the answers to everything. I don't know how Mandela works. I don't know how the government has gotten to be so powerful, and these evil people that put out this programming and messing with frequencies and messing with the children and doing straight evil stuff, how they got to that position, how they're, these guys are doing stuff in the dark that is straight crazy. I don't know how they got,
Mhm.
how they're allowed to do it, but I will never lose faith in God, and my faith in God keeps me going. And I just fully trust in Him that in the end we win. In the end,
Yeah.
we'll be all right. you know.
Right. Right. Same here. Same here. It's too they yeah, they're using light technology also. I really think that could be part of the whole Mandela effect thing is
Oh
the technology, the light technology and the frequencies they're using. Um, it's too hard for me to explain. But I understand it. I've done a lot of research and watched a lot of shows and things for the past 7 years and gained quite a bit of knowledge, I think. But for me to actually turn around and explain something is a little more difficult.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I blue light technology. Hey, Indy, how you doing?
Yeah.
Talking about blue lights, hit it off for television, LED lighting.
Yeah. Yeah. All of that. And they say well, I don't know if I should bring it up, but um they use and they always have used too the flashing lights too subliminally. Um I don't know.
Yeah, there's something behind that. They kind of
Oh, absolutely.
they gave it away on The Simpsons. When they go to Japan
Mhm.
and the flashing lights that come on their shows, it's like a little anime that they show out there in Japan, and the kids just like fall into this zombie like trance, and they just keel over.
Mhm.
Well,
That's amazing. There's so many truth drops in these shows and movies.
yeah,
It's amazing, and it's like they make it so it's like, it's a movie or it's a animate animated series, so it's not real. It's just haha. But that's how they get us. They give us the truth, but they put it out there in such a way that it just makes it look like we're nutty when we talk about it as being real, right?
yeah, absolutely.
So, I wish I could chat. I can't be on here and chat. I can read it, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy to me how people can just like they'll see the pieces of truth right there in front of them. Um,
Mhm.
they just like I don't know, like they're afraid to address it, um, to realize it, to accept it, and they just much rather like. There's somebody that was asking me about the channel, and they're like, "But why talk about it? If it's already there, it's already around us. They've already been established. There's nothing that I can do to stop them." Why talk about it? And I was like, because, it's first of all, conversations like this, it helps people to wake up and at least get to the point to where they question things. And that's the beginning of realizing truth. That's the beginning of coming to this understanding of truth. And, if I go, live on these channels and I wake up just one person, it's worth it to me.
Mhm.
And who knows where that can go. They might be, there's probably somebody that I might help to find truth, and then they become this very influential superstar, and they break their family out of these transes, and who knows who they can go. That's just like the gospel. When you spread the gospel, you
Mhm.
when they go on to saving others, and so it's all worth it.
Well, it is, and it's great, and like today, like I really needed this today. I mean, it's wonderful that you are doing a live stream. In my opinion, you are helping people. If nothing else, you're helping me right now. I forget where I found you. I found you through another channel, but I can't remember who it was. I know I saw you on Voynich's channel.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
voyaged through. Mud Flood Adventures with A.
Oh yeah, Ray. Yeah, maybe I know you through there too. I don't know. After time, you see people you know all the time in different places that you wouldn't think. But yeah, I found a lot of great people through these different channels, so
This is
I'm
sorry.
happy.
I'm trying to get. How do you show the name here? Broadcast info. No. Sorry, I'm not used to doing it on my phone. You're Salt, right?
No, I'm Zen Wen.
Oh, sorry, Zenwin. My bad. I'm
That's
trying
okay.
to name the supposed to display it here. I'm glad it helps you. You know, because yeah, I don't know. I just had it. I had this itch for like a while just to start a channel. Like this, my channel was used to be for my business, and they used to have a. This channel used to be a book club channel. I used to read like those, not self empowerment books, but like business, um, teaching people to grow. Because I was taught in business to read books and feed your mind with something positive, something that's going to help you to run your business. And I would read like success books, and uh,
Mhm.
I only did two books, and then I stopped. It was 25 Biblical Laws to Success, and then another book called Man Up by Bedros Koulian. But then I was like, I'm not. I didn't feel like I was. I felt like I was called to do something different, to start,
Mhm.
because I would be watching YouTube since man, I don't know, like 2010 or so, just learning this.
Mhm.
And I felt like Jim from The Office, and he would, on the first episode, like he was trying to he was thinking about, why am I here working at this paper company, and he knows all this stuff about shipping paper. And he's like, what am I gonna do with all this useless knowledge in my head? And so, like, where else is he gonna go? So I had the same kind of feeling, like maybe, because I don't preach anymore. I'm not on the pulpit anymore. There's
Mhm.
many differences in the church and a lot of fights and stuff. So I stepped down. But I feel like this is the ministry that I'm called to more, to speak to people about stuff that I feel need to be spoken of. Because in my opinion, I feel like the churches aren't doing their job to talk about,
Mhm.
like they keep from talking about this stuff, which I believe the churches should be one of the biggest, people to talk about this kind of truth and
Mhm.
expose the satanic agendas that are going on in our lives, in our entertainment.
Mhm.
It's strange to me how the churches do not touch this stuff. Maybe they're in fear that the church will leave the church because like, oh, that pastor, he's a weirdo. Because like, he's talking about
Mhm.
crazy stuff, conspiracies and all that. So they're afraid of that stuff. But I'm like,
Mhm.
how could you just talk about? Well, yeah, you got to talk about the gospel, but you also should help people to realize what's affecting their daily life. And if daily life consists of entertainment that's demoralizing our children and destroying, biblical the morals that they should learn, you know,
Mhm.
waste our time. You know,
Exactly.
we preach to them one day of the week, and the rest of the week, the devil gets to preach to them. Like, that's not right.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah. I understand. I totally agree. I quit. I see. I don't like to get in this conversation either, but I quit. I don't believe in organized religion, I guess. Um most good people I've met that are really faithful and love God and talk the truth, in my opinion, are people that don't necessarily go to church, you
mm,
know? Um, like you, I love your channel for the fact that you talk about God and such.
thank you.
Um, yeah, you're welcome. I like things like that. I don't know. I just anything with control in it, anything that's organized and has control in to me is questionable, you know? And there's good and bad in everything. I'm not saying it's all bad. There's a lot of good ones out there too. There really are.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of bad ones. So my mom was raised Catholic. So I don't know. I felt kind of bad for her actually, but um She felt like when she got older, she got dementia. It was really sad, and she would ask us, "Did I remember to go to church today?" She felt like she had to go to church, you
Mm.
know, to have God approve of her and love her. And so we would just tell her yes because we didn't want to upset her, you know. But
Yeah.
my whole life I was like, Mom, I love you. God knows you love him. You don't have to go to church to worship God, you know.
Right.
But she was a lot older. She was a lot older when she had me. So she was kind of set in her old ways. But anyway, it's enough of that. Anyway, I should probably go. I still want to listen, but I should get off of here. I'm so nervous
Don't be.
for some reason.
Yeah,
So,
I'm glad you came up. I was running out of things. I just wanted to get on it. I know I'm coming in super late today, but it's the only
yeah,
time I'm gonna be stuck over here for the next few days. I'm not gonna be able to get back on my live like a normal. I'm doing the whole videography for the family, so I'm just setting on my camera in this stupid heat, But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it-
Well, if it makes you feel any better, it's hotter where I'm at for sure. But
that makes me feel.
oh, hey, Uncool Paranoia's here. Hello. I know you.
Hey,
I
uncool.
think. Am I seeing that right?
Yeah, yeah, uncool.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I met you through her. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, have a good rest of your night, morning, and um
Thank
and
you.
I'll stay in chat for a while.
All right. Well, thanks for
All right.
coming. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Yeah. See if anybody else wants to come up. I'm running out of stuff to talk about. We're just talking about frequencies. And thank you, Zen Win, for coming up. Appreciate you. And
You're
I'm glad
welcome.
you enjoy this stuff because it absolutely needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I want to
Okay.
word so bad to get under her skin, but I'm not gonna do it.
You want to what?
There's a word hates, but we ain't on your channel today. I'm cool, so I think I'm just gonna.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Let me drop.
thanks for coming by, Zen Win. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm out here in Vegas, and I don't. Sin City is for real. There's a lot of weird uh, stuff like coming by me right now as I'm outside the casino, and a lot of characters out here. I ain't gonna show it on camera. There's people walking by just completely exposing themselves, and now the security keeps coming around looking at me, but it's all. Let me roll my eyes some more. Did you like that yesterday? That was funny, you know. And welcome to the stream I bring every day with Kelly. How you doing?
Hello. I'm gonna hide.
Oh,
I'm in the dark, so
oh, it's all good. You're right.
yeah. Okay. So how you doing?
Very good. After a whole day of sweating out my clothes in this desert heat, I'm finally enjoying some cool weather and some the late hours of Las Vegas.
Y-
How
Yeah,
are you?
it's what's the temperature?
I want to say it got down to somewhere in the 70s. Can't say right,
Okay.
but it was like 106 earlier, and then a crazy storm rolled in. Like I haven't seen lightning like this ever. I mean, it was lightning coming down all around us at the hall where we had our family reunion. But
Mm-hmm.
it rained like you wouldn't believe. It was just like just pouring. I got some video. I'm gonna post a little short on it and show it. But yeah, pretty great. I heard about flooding and stuff, and I'm like, I hope it is raining when we come out here. I ain't trying to deal with the heat, but
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
is it you're at?
It's it was like 85 yesterday, which wasn't bad for this time of year because it cools off here pretty quick.
All right, you're somewhere in the East Coast, right?
I'm on the east, right? Yeah, so it's once August hits, it we lose about 10 degrees. But we've been in the 90s almost all summer.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm missing the Cali heat. It's different out there. It gets hot, but it's manageable.
Yeah.
But this desert is. This is my third time here this month.
Oh.
Yeah, I had to drop off my daughter. She flew out to Hawaii from here
Mm,
in the middle of the night. I know it's 94 degrees at 2 in the morning. I'm
that's
like,
crazy.
no, I got family to live out here, and I'm like, I don't know how you guys do this, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm spoiled with the weather in Cali.
No, it is nice. And I tell people that all the time. It's a lot more moderate than other places. So, but then, since everything's gotten warmer, I'll just say it that way, where I live, everything's gotten warmer over the years. So we
Yeah.
never used to have 90-degree days. And we've had, for like the last 2 or 3 years, 10, 12, 15, 90-degree days.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the temperatures are definitely they're getting up there more than before,
Yeah.
and it seems like there's changes in the weather where it's like we didn't have a spring at all. It was
Right.
cold to
Right.
hot.
Yes.
Like, uh, I enjoy the spring. You know, what I mean, I don't want to keep my AC on all dang day and just running that up.
Yeah.
I like to get out there and do some gardening, but I was looking forward to you know picking up some vegetables and everything, and all my plants are withering in this heat.
They are. Yeah, this was a bad gardening year for a lot of people, I've heard.
The only thing that survived in my garden was taro, and
Oh,
yeah, I tried to. This is my first time trying to grow some taro, because that's what my country's where we export tuna, and
mm,
that's what we do. And I was like, let me try to grow some here, and see how it turned out. So the taro enjoys the heat because it's hot in Samoa, so it's doing fine. But all my other plants are dead.
yeah. Yeah, I had 2 tomatoes. I grew 2 tomatoes.
Oh, my mom did good though. She just got a bunch of tomatoes and cucumbers. Got like a whole bucket of cucumbers.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't know you homeschooled till the other day when you mentioned it.
Yes. Well, so I'll try to give you the abbreviated story.
Okay.
So what had happened was my husband and I moved to a different school district, and it was on the line. Well, that's when I moved to this new school district, I realized that the public school education was terrible. And like, I don't know, I guess I was under the spell, like you said earlier. You're under the spell thinking you're getting a good education, but you're not.
Hmm.
And so anyway, but I realized when I went to college years ago, and I realized that I wasn't prepared. You know what I mean? Not
Hmm.
at least to the ability of some of the more wealthy people and things like that. Private school, like a lot of people say private school. I think private school, not that it's perfect, but it's better than public school.
Right.
Because they just sort of push you a little bit further. You know what I mean? They let you sort of think a little bit more broader and things like that.
Hmm.
Like public school just gives you, like, I'll just give you an example. So my school, I found it really easy because they would walk you maybe 3 steps out of the 10. And so I had a photographic memory, so I could remember everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when I got to college, they sort of pushed you maybe 8 more steps or 7 more steps, or like maybe you got to step 9. And that's how further, they wanted you to sort of think about things, use the data that you see, analyze it, come to your own conclusion, that kind of thing. Where I had really never done that before, all through my 12 years of education, so I wasn't really good at sort of putting things together. You know how you were sort of talking about that earlier?
Yeah.
Things like that. And then I became better at it. Much, much better at it. Oh, as I got throughout my college education. But when I came in there, I was kind of a knucklehead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't really understand the world and how things worked and things like that. So so anyway, so when my kids were coming through and I noticed that they really weren't learning anything,
Uh,
I just got fed up and took them out. And it was kind of under a series of circumstances, but it turned out that both my husband and I were home for a period of time,
uh,
and so it worked out. So anyway, so I decided to homeschool them, and we in the thing that I thought the best part of it was, it removed them from a lot of the bullying. It removed them from just the and I hate to bring it up, but here it is. It's the racial profiling, in school. Um, like
oh,
I experienced a lot of that. You know, your people are this and you are that, and and they would say it not exactly in your face, but in your face in enough that you realized what they were talking about. The teachers. So anyway, I took them out of school, and the best part of that, they were out for about 3 years, and we homeschooled, and we were able to do a lot of traveling,
uh,
and because everything was online. And at that time, they didn't really make you check in, other than the fact like the teachers would check your work and make sure that you turned in the assignments on. Like the biggest thing was turning in the assignments on time. So we would travel, like we went to New York and we did bowling and all kinds of physical education things, um, karate, and just traveling to different places, to Virginia, to Washington D.C., to New York, just doing all kinds of cool field trips. And then my kids were able to do like dance and things like that, and it was a lot simpler for them to do that, the outside stuff.
uh,
But they got a decent education online, but we also got a chance to sort of um, like everyone says, oh, you're missing out on the social aspect. But my kids did karate and other things with other kids and played instruments and stuff like that. But anyway, after a while, they were like, oh, I want to be more with my friends and blah blah blah. And so I sort of sent them back into school, but then just like a lot of not bad things happen, but things happen, and then I don't think they really got a good education when they went back. So that's my long, protracted story about that.
I see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, that's really a shame, and but I wouldn't take back those 3 years. I think at the time my kids I don't think really appreciated it, but my husband and we spent like 3 really good close years while they were home,
That's awesome.
and it was great. Yeah, so I'm just saying, just for that aspect, it was good. But they also got a chance to explore other things and sort of broaden their horizons and study things that they wanted to study, because the schoolwork online wasn't easy, but it wasn't hard, but it was easy, it was hard enough to kind of get them stimulated, but then they could finish it, maybe by 1 o'clock in the afternoon or something, and then they could just do their thing. Yeah.
Is it the K-12 program that
Yeah,
you?
it was that one. That's the one we actually used. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna. Cause we have some people that are about to go that route in the chat, and so I was gonna. Yeah, I was gonna ask you which route did you go? I don't know if it's the same with every state. But I did the K-12 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I went into it blindly. I know we did the 1 year here in California where the whole situation that happened the past couple of years and caused everybody to stay home, and
Mm.
so we were forced to do the online thing, and that was a struggle to do it with the regular public school. But when they were saying, oh, we're gonna let everybody back into the school, and me being a conspiracy nut, I'm like, nope. I was like,
Oh, okay. Okay.
guys doing? Oh, I'm not letting my children get in there and have their brains fried.
Mm.
More information too from the frequencies that they are emitting with all the stuff they went in. Because
Mm-hmm.
I I was watching everything
Mm-hmm.
when shut down the city here. Construction was going on everywhere. I
Yeah.
mean, he touched every telephone pole here in Cali. Well, Cali. I'm in. Vegas right now, but they touched every telephone pole. They ripped apart the road and on every freeway, and they put stuff under the ground. It was crazy how much construction was going on. It was like they wanted to take us off the street so they can
Yes. Yeah.
make changes. And so I was watching it, and I'm like, no, uh, I'm not letting my children get exposed to all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to do the K-12 thing, and last year was my first year on our own doing it, and it was a bit of a struggle at first, I would say. Yeah, I thought I was doing good, and then we fell behind on some work, and then we fell
Mm-hmm.
a lot behind on work. And so where the teachers were like, "Hey, the principal's getting involved," I'm like, "Oh shoot,
Oh
I need
wow.
my bad." I was like, "I'm not doing my job right."
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of discipline. You got to get your routine down.
Yes.
You got to figure out things to do to get the children active, find some physical.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend, well, you got to get out, go to the parks and all that, playground whenever we can. I would recommend Dojo Go from KCET. It's a good free Taekwondo program that they teach for the children. It's really interesting, a lot of fun, and they get active. And my children are learning Taekwondo and how to speak, so, counting Korean and stuff like that.
Great. Right.
And they enjoy it, but I do enjoy it. Like, here's the, it's considered a public school. Like, there's a public school version of it. There's also a private school version of it. I think we're gonna go the private school route later on. I know it costs money, and so
Yeah.
there's that. But what I love about the homeschooling, yes, there is a syllabus that you got to follow. The teachers, still have to teach the program. However, there's times where I'll be like, nope, I'll stop. I put a stop to things that they're learning. I'm like, sorry, we don't teach that stuff, you know,
Okay.
and what I mean. So we have more control,
Right.
and we're able to monitor this stuff, because when I see stuff going on in the school, the conversations that are being had between teachers and students, and one of my, I homeschool. I have 4 children, and one of them is out of age yet. So the other 3 I homeschool at the same time, and I have them sitting around me on their laptops, and I'm listening, on each of them at the same time. And I noticed one of the teachers was, she doesn't have the same kind of mindset that I do, as far as what we ought to teach and how we should teach it. I noticed she doesn't call me when she addresses my child about me, because you're supposed to be a learning coach and
Yes.
sit there and watch and listen to what they're learning. She never calls me dad, her dad. My daughter, she's a kindergarten. Mercy, her name is Mercy, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll never tell Mercy, like, where's your dad? They always say, is your adult present?
Oh.
Is your adult? Yeah. And I was like, wow, you guys don't use parents anymore, or mom and
Mm-hmm.
dad. I
Mm-hmm.
know language was different, and I noticed a lot of things that she did was different. Wearing a mask and stuff like that. I'm like, you're on a computer. I don't know why you need to wear that. You're in your own house. So I was like, I don't know. That's weird to me. But so yeah, there is more control. Yes, we have to learn. Uh, the same syllabus, but at least we have more control over it. And welcome, Uncle Paranoia. Jet to the panel. How you
What's up?
doing?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good. You
I'm
know,
just
Hey.
listening. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I want to get in on this conversation where I fit in.
I, let me. How do I do it? Rookie hour over here. I gotta. Okay, yeah, I'm a big fan of the homeschooling. Keep a closer eye on our children and what goes in and out of their, what goes in their ears and what they're.
Mhm. Oh, you're breaking up just a little bit.
I was just about to say, I don't know if it's just me, but your audio is kind of intermittent. It's cutting in and out.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah,
Mm.
I don't know going out. But, um, man, there was you just What was I going to about the homeschooling?
Oh, can I say one thing real quick?
Go
And
ahead.
then
Go
I'll,
ahead.
I'll stop talking. So, the one thing I would just say is it's not for everybody. And the reason that I say this is I'm trying to think of an example. And I don't know how to say this tactfully. There's not an easy way to say this, but um, how can I say this? I had a relative who did homeschooling because she saw me homeschooling.
Mm-hmm.
And as parents, they never followed up with their kids. They had two children.
Mm-hmm.
And the one, I think, her IQ, I'll just say she did not have a high IQ. And so she fell very far behind. And her parents didn't monitor what she was doing. And then she ended up, failing that year.
Oh, see.
And
Wow.
so, right. And see, and here's the thing, because I love my family members, but they're kind of knuckleheads. Like they don't follow instructions. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like
I
you
got
sort of have to work the program because they work like they have people. Remember, there's people when people come up with a program to a point, you sort of have to follow the program to a point and then see how it works. You know what I mean? And then you have to constantly evaluate how your kids are doing and how you're doing with the program. You know what I mean? So they just were not hands on at all. They just kind of said, "Oh, they're home, they're fine."
Mm-hmm.
So the one child who had a really extremely high IQ killed it. Killed it. I mean, she was like using her brain, exploring things, studying even further. You know, I mean, it was ideal for her. But then the other one who really wasn't interested in school, and you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean. And so anyway, but during the course of me doing that, so the second one failed, right? And then and I think she ended up failing a couple of years. But eventually, and I want to say the happy story is, she was 2 or 3 years behind when she finally graduated. But she graduated with like, a 99.99% grade point average by the time it was done. So she became this awesome student. But the
Cool.
homeschooling did not help her because her parents did not watch what she was doing. And I don't
Yeah.
know to what, and now she did another program, and I forget which one she did, but they I don't know. It was really interesting. So I don't know what happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They just
Uh,
completely like dropped the ball on her, and and maybe she dropped the ball on herself. I mean, there's just a combination of a lot of things. So, like I said, the one thrived, and when
yeah.
I saw the older students' graduation, all those kids were internships, going to all the top tier schools. You know what I mean? Like they were. I can't believe that the other one fell out of this program look based on some of the things that the other kids were doing. I mean, they were dancing in ballets in big cities. You know what I'm saying? Like these kids were doing big things. You
Wow.
know,
Wow.
performing. Like piano, you
Mm.
piano, concert piano. They're playing with symphonies. And all this stuff. And then there's my relative who flunks out of third grade. I mean, I'm just like, I don't understand like how that happens. But anyway,
Yeah.
I know. Sorry about knuckleheads, but that's the only word I can think of.
No, I
Yeah,
like it.
Right. It's fitting.
it's fitting. It's fitting.
Yeah.
So anyway, so like I said, but these my relative, the parents of the kids, just blew the whole thing off, and they thought it was just gonna just work itself, and it just doesn't work. Yeah. So anyway,
No, you're absolutely right. Like my youngest, she I don't even need to watch her. She's that smart. You know, I,
mm-hmm.
I I have to monitor her, but I know she'll figure a lot of it out. So she makes things very easy on me. Now my son, here's the thing: they get a lot of freedom. You
Yes,
know, now that they're homeschooling, because uh, if you're not sitting there next to them looking at the monitor, you
yes,
know, you can easily go and play games while class is going on, or watch a
mm-hmm.
movie while class is going
Mm-hmm.
on. And, I didn't realize. Um, I forget that my children are still children. I'm expecting more of them. My son, I needed to monitor more, And my oldest, she shocked me because before this, she was in school, in class, in person. She did phenomenally. I mean, she read 4 books every month.
Mm-hmm.
Great up there. You know, the only thing I needed to work on her with was her confidence. Like, she's really timid. She'll know the answer, but she doesn't want to raise her hand. She's kind of shy, and I understand
Mm-hmm.
because how I grew up. You know, I never wanted to answer, never wanted to participate. So when I pulled her out of that environment, you know, I allowed her to get all this freedom, and I would let her go in her room and do class, not watching her, trusting that she can do it because I know how smart she did in school. But what I failed to realize is that she's still 12 years old. So now
Mm-hmm.
that freedom, she was just bombing it. You know, it wasn't working out.
Yeah.
And to the last quarter, the teacher is like, look, last quarter, you got to be on it. You know,
Yes.
it falls down on me because I'm the learning coach.
Yep.
You know, I'm the guy who's got to be there to help her. And so we had to like crush it on the last quarter in order to get the grades up. And we did. But I had a talk with her in the summer. We took a break. I said, look, next year it's going to be our second year homeschooling. Now we know the mistakes from the first year, and we're not going to
Mm-hmm.
repeat that.
Yep.
So I got to do what I got to do to monitor her. She's the kind of person that she's not like my youngest daughter. I can just let her have the freedom. She's that kind of child where she needs someone sitting there looking at her screen while she's looking at it, make sure she's not doing something she's not supposed to do. So
Yep. Yep.
that's work that we have to do as the parents on that side. But you know, just for anybody who's interested, there's some children that you need to,
Absolutely.
kind of have to fill it out at first and see how it goes, how they respond to the new program.
Yeah, I wanted to join in on this conversation because I'm new to the entire homeschool thing. I mean, my baby's only 4; she hadn't even started school yet,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm still in the process where, I mean, I even got to the point where I enrolled my daughter in the school right around the corner, public school, where
Mm-hmm.
she should have started September 6th. But I don't want to do that. But I'm a single mom working full time, so I kind
Yeah.
of felt defeated. Like, how can I even do that? So I
Mhm.
just started researching. I'm in Michigan's homeschool laws, stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really consider the amount of time that a 4-year-old would have an attention span, which may be a maximum of 5 minutes at best. So as I'm researching Michigan's homeschool laws, I'm thinking the amount of time, like my brain is thinking about the public school system, the public school model. My brain is thinking the amount of time a child spends in school should be equivalent to what they're doing at home. So I'm like, I work during the day. I'm going to do that. So I didn't really
Right.
think about the fact that a child can pick up whatever we teach them like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're targeting, what they're excelling at, I'm sure it's a trial and error kind of thing. But when I think about the relationship my daughter and I have already, she has picked up on things I've accidentally taught her, like
Mm-hmm.
quick.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm
Yeah.
researching Michigan's homeschool laws, I found a chart where there's like a broad recommendation of how much instruction time like a child her age should have in a single sitting, like in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And the minimum is 20 minutes and a maximum of 60 minutes for a 4-year-old in Michigan. So I'm like, man, I can do that on my off day.
It's for sure.
Yeah. So as I'm continuing to learn, I've just finally started joining homeschool groups on Facebook. Man, now my Facebook feed is being drenched in
Yes.
all kinds of different curriculum. People sharing their experiences, people commenting on my Facebook, sending me all kind of messages. So I'm like, man, I feel so motivated and empowered right now. I am ready to write this school a letter and withdraw her and just select a curriculum and get everything going on my own, which is exactly what I'm about to do. And, just listen to y'all share your experiences. I'm learning, I'm picking it up. She's only 4, so I'm going to have to do it,
Yes.
with her.
That's the key thing, I think.
Yeah.
If you have to make sure, yes, that's the biggest point of it all, is you have to be involved, in my opinion.
So I'm even thinking about ways I can redecorate her room to make it, an environment to where she'll understand what we're doing. I've
Mhm.
ordered her, I know she's real little now, but I'm getting this stuff out of the way because I'm so excited. I've already ordered her a desk that has a light built into it. Like she's
Mhm.
gonna she's an early girl. She likes pink stuff.
Mhm.
So She's gonna decorate her room with nice, pretty, colorful, like get her a number line, a dry erase board. Like we're gonna go all the way here. If I'm gonna do this, I'm going 2 feet in, both feet in, all the way.
Okay.
And just one other point I'd like to share, just with me, just dipping my toe into the homeschool curriculum because I haven't decided on what we're gonna do yet. But me personally, I hold to a Christian lifestyle, Christian standards. I identify as Christian. So one thing I have noticed about homeschool curriculum in particular, they straight up identify whether it's faith-based, or secular. I wanted to share with everybody. I was just looking through a curriculum yesterday, and it just kind of jumped out at me like, whoa. There's this website. You all have probably heard of it because you're already in this realm. It's called A to Z Homeschooling. Have y'all heard of that?
I have not.
Okay. So it's a homeschool curriculum, it's like step-by-step guides and grade by grade. So I'm just looking through to see what might be available for pre-K because I don't really want to push her straight into kindergarten. I want to kind of learn the homeschool model with pre-K and then work our way up. So I scrolled down to the bottom of this website. I'm gonna read it to y'all. A to Z Homeschooling is an inclusive, non-faith-based homeschooling site. Non-faith-based. Proudly offering homeschool help and information for all homeschoolers looking for educational resources without religious influence. Whatever your homeschool needs, we've got homeschool resources for all homeschoolers from A to Z.
Wow.
Okay.
So I was like, wow, so you're inclusive
Except
unless you want Christian influence. You notice what they're talking about. I
Yeah,
can go up there and say I'm Buddhist, and they'll be like, wow, you're Buddhist? That's so interesting. I mean, of course they're talking about Christian influence. I just want to share that with everybody. Like, it's kind of jumping out at me that with this homeschool model, you have the freedom to instill in your child your values, whatever you find most important. Because, for one thing, another thing that's against me is I don't drive. I have glaucoma. So my child is not in church, which you don't have to be in church to worship, but my child is not being exposed to the foundational principles like I was. Praise and worship, or at least understanding that we were created and not evolved. So it is up to me to teach her these things. So
absolutely.
I was looking for a curriculum that'll kind of be loosely based around that. Now I'm experiencing the so-called Christian curriculum has secular science where they're teaching in the solar system, but I can weed that out on my own. So it's just interesting to explore this freedom. So I just want to share that with everybody. Like, I'm having a ball just even looking at it. I haven't even made a decision yet on the curriculum, but it's crazy. Yeah,
I would just say you have a preschooler. Just make sure you read. Like, get her interested in reading.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you read to her and read her everything. You know what I mean? Just keep reading.
Okay.
Because that's the bottom line. You cannot excel in education if you cannot read. Like, that's it, in my opinion.
I agree.
They're kind of that out. I mean, they're going to still have kids read, but they're doing other things to keep, to change that. And reading does a lot. I have some teacher friends who are telling me, they're like, there's children today that they can't scrub properly. They're saying like, put words together, read, basic sentences.
They cannot read.
Yeah, they can, pretty much.
They cannot read.
Like,
or write.
Daughter, when she was into reading, we were doing a bread giveaway at our church and just give out free bread to the neighborhood. And my daughter was out there reading, and this guy was walking by, and he was like crying. He was like, "Oh my!" He's from Africa. He's a teacher out here in LA School District, and he was like, "Oh my God!" He's like, "That's so awesome to see your daughter reading. Like, I don't see this anymore." And he's telling me how.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's huge.
Like, for making sure your daughter reads. And I'm like, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but he was saying as a teacher, he can't, he's fearful how they can't scrub. The way that's what I guess that's the term they use. Just putting words together and making sense of it, and all that stuff.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow,
Huge.
I've never heard that phrase before. Scrub. When you say scrub, I'm thinking like, what do you mean scrub? Like, scrub?
Exactly. The new word to me, but I was like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, it's so important. Like, I had a friend of mine that grew up. We met my parents and her parents grew up together, as
Wow.
children. That's how long the ties of the family were. And um, my friend moved, several states away, and I went to visit her. She was on her second kid at the time, and she spent not long, but mm, maybe an hour a day reading. I mean, I guess that's not. I mean, I guess that is a fair amount of time. But she would read to her daughter, and her daughter got to the point where she almost read the book at age 3. Back, she started recognizing words.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even at that point, like she was very young, and I said, "Wow, this is crazy."
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and she had just like rooms full. I mean, she had just stacks and stacks of kids' books, and and like I said, your local library is going to be your friend. If you're smart, you'll utilize that. There's a lot of free books, you can get. Check them out, return them. Um,
Library's your best friend.
yeah, yeah. But anyway, but her daughter, finished college. I mean, her daughter's now like 25 years old. That's crazy. The one that was
Wow.
3 at the time. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And she did really well in school all the way up. And, but like I said, I did well in school mostly because I had a photographic memory. And, as a young kid, and like I said, my school really didn't expect much. They just covered things real cursory. You know what I mean? And then when I got to college, people were like, "Hey, I've taken, 10 courses in that and blah, 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 blah." I never had any of that coming up. You know what I'm saying?
hmm.
And they knew more about the world, and they knew the news. Like, I just think, not that you have to give your kid the news, but they sort of have to know like what's happening around them a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying you have to, give them all the gory details, but
Make them aware.
just make them aware. Who's the president? What is the president doing? Whatever, just things like that. I'm just saying, just real basic stuff, and they'll do really well. And they'll do really well. And hopefully, you'll have a kid who wants to learn, because I think people who have a little bit of a passion for learning do better. And that's kind of the point that I was making with my
Yeah.
relatives. One had a passion, one did not. One was definitely had a higher IQ, one did not. And maybe the one just needed more, monitoring, and the other did not. So just
Yeah.
you have to sort of work, just keep a watch on things. But the other thing, one last thing I'll say, and then I'll stop. So the first year that my kids were in that K through 12 program, you had due dates for things,
Mhm.
and so but they were really hard and fast with them. And then the second year, so in other words, there was another kid that I knew in that program that finished his work by December. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It took him 3 months to finish all the work
Wow. For the whole year?
for the whole year.
Yep.
Whoa.
And he was done. He was finished. So all he did all day was video games, reading, bowling, karate. He had all these outside activities, and that's what he did. He played an instrument, I think. But he had all that time off. So their family used to go on vacations, like in March, April. You know what I mean? And then,
Wow.
yeah, like he had basically, was it, how many months is that? December to May? Yeah, like 5 months off. So it was a nice little year he had. You know what I mean? But then over time, the school said, no, that's a little too free, and then they kind of clamped down on it. So you had to check in every day at certain classes at certain times. So that made it less flexible. So that was a little bit of a shock to my kids, because the first year was great. Like I mean, they didn't finish I made sure that they sort of spaced it out, but they were shocked that they had to check in, and that was really tough. That became a little more challenging, because it was like 11, 10:45, you got to check in with teacher this, and then at 12:30 you had to check
What?
in. Yeah, so that's the only little thing I'll tell you that I ran into the second and third years that we were with them. So it became more and more, less and less convenient, I
Yeah, less
guess,
and less free.
and less free. So you might want to look into that also, like how they check in and all that. Like if you have to check in, when you have to check in, how often you have to check in with the
It'll be
administration.
sporadic, like sometimes it'll be like 8:45, and then sometimes you got to be on at 10. Sometimes
Hmm.
that's the one, like you won't have control on that part depending on the program you go into.
Yep.
But you are right about the freedom. Like you get more of your time. You know what I mean? Like one of the kindergarten students, he was such a bright kid in my daughter's class. His schoolwork for the day would be done by the time class started at 8:45.
Oh yeah. Yep.
He'd
Wow.
already he'd already had his breakfast and
Hmm.
all his work before class started, and then they started the class online to do the lesson, and the rest of the day was his.
Hmm.
Whoever that parent was, kudos to him. He got the whole day to himself. Because I, the past 9 years, I've sold insurance from home. I have a business and it's run mostly at home, and so I had freedom to run my business after the schooling. And so that part was cool. But I'm doing this year. I'm going to be doing a job, uh, much like you, Uncool Paranoid. It's going to be on the phone with customers at home. So it's going to be a little different this year, but now that I got 1 year under my belt, I'm more confident in how I'm going to be managing time and things like that and monitoring the work.
Hmm.
But while you're looking into it, I know K-12 is what I'm on now, and we took the LA school district has three homeschooling programs.
Hmm.
We the one called CAVA, it's California Virtual Academy. And I didn't know. I just picked one, But apparently there were three. There was a private school. There was Kava, the one I picked, and then there's another one called Sequoia.
Oh
If you fit your state, Sequoia. Have you guys heard of that one? Have you heard of?
no, I have
No.
not. Oh, okay.
So,
I'm looking that up right now.
All
Oh, bye,
right.
Zen. Zen's leaving. She's sleeping, getting ready to go to sleep.
Oh, see
and
you, Zen.
thanks for coming on today. It was cool.
Yep.
But yeah, I already signed up to Kava, and then I did my research. I was just like, I need to get my slots. I need to get my children enrolled before it runs out because it filled up.
Yes.
It filled up after, so you got to do that. Get that out of the way. Get in there. Um, then I learned that Kava was the one that requires more attention from the parents.
Hmm.
Okay, well, I guess we're just going to do the hard route because Sequoia offers the same program. However, it's less hands-on. So it's designed for parents who have work to do, a job or
Hmm.
anything.
Hmm.
They won't have to monitor as much. So it's designed for the parents to have more freedom. So if you have an opportunity to, I didn't do the switch. I was thinking maybe I might do the first year Kava and just switch over, but I figured, the children are already used to the program. I'm used to the program now.
Yep.
We're going to do better this year around.
Hmm.
But maybe you want to look into Sequoia because I know, Uncle is working from home. And, maybe you want to look into that one, see if that's available to you.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just brought it up here. I'm gonna bookmark it and look into
Yeah.
this. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I wanted to share one of the things I learned towards the end when I told you that the principal got involved.
Yes.
I wasn't doing it right because I was still trying to, just trial and error. They told me that the majority of people that go into the K-12 programs or any homeschool program, they'll do it for a year, maybe two, and then they'll drop out of it because they didn't adjust as quickly. They didn't
Hmm.
figure it out. They didn't get their timing right, their scheduling right, and they drop out. And they go back to a regular school, which
Hmm.
is what we're more comfortable with because that's what we're used to. And then they said, out of everybody that's there, my child, we weren't the only ones that were bombing it. Apparently, half the school was failing, by
Hmm.
order, and the teachers were like being grilled, like, okay, we all need. Oh, damn it! Oh, freaking heck. Sorry, cockroach ran on my arm.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
what?
I hate
You were
bugs.
pretty calm.
I
Hey, you
hate
are.
bugs.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Y'all to see me fly out of this chair.
Yeah, I would be gone. Yeah.
Like, casino, and I'm trying to scream like a girl or try to play it cool right now. Seriously, man, I'm like anything with more than 4 legs is from the devil.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
terrible.
just straight up. Like, they snuck on the ark. I'm convinced they snuck on there.
For sure.
Yep, them and bed bugs. Like,
Oh goodness.
how are you alive?
Uh,
I hate that. Anyway, I got bit in the butt by a cockroach when I was a kid, and I'm like terrified.
seriously?
Yes, man. People don't believe me. I'm just like, no, it was damn cockroaches trying to kill me, man. They're crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
TMI. Anyway, yeah, there was half the school was failing last year, and I guess it's because it was right after the whole
Yes.
pandemic,
Yes.
and a lot of people were, like, hey, I'm screw that. I ain't gonna let my kids go to the regular school, so they tried it out.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't figure it out right away, so just knowing that will help you, in the first year. Like, okay,
Absolutely.
I got down my schedule, all that stuff. Get
Mhm.
you gotta, it's like a job. You got to make sure you get up on by a certain time and get
Yes.
to a certain time. All that, it's just timing.
Yeah, with her being 4 years old, I figured it's a good time to. I already, instilled in her that we should be up in the morning doing something. So she's
Yes.
pretty used to that. Like she'll get up 7:30. Mommy, can I have pancakes? And so
Mhm.
she's up. She's ready to get started.
Oh, that's
Because-
good.
Yeah, because I have to work, and I've been working from home I worked from home for maybe a year and a half before Convid even started.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, maybe almost 2 years before. So she's used to
Yeah.
that. So
Mhm.
she's used to the structure already.
Yep.
She's used to me reading because I read scripture to her.
Good.
Since I feel a certain type of way that she's not growing up in church like I did, even though I know the truth about church now. But still,
Yeah.
I'd like her to experience some of it. But I don't want her to see everybody in church with their faces covered. Like we're just not going to do that. So,
Okay.
yeah. So just out of curiosity, like, do you teach your kids flat Earth? Like, how do y'all feel about that? 'Cause I know that's a rough one, but
It's a rough one.
I'm curious.
I did okay, so that you have to go on. It's still considered like the program where it's still considered a public school.
Yeah.
So they teach space and planets and crap. And by the way, before you spend money on any material, your school's gonna send you a lot of material.
Yes.
I got boxes of stuff. A lot of it we didn't even touch. There was much stuff that they sent.
Okay.
Whiteboard, all that stuff. Yeah, they sent over globe like beach balls that were like globes,
Yep.
and I blew it up and I popped it. My children were like, "What?"
Oh my goodness.
That's how you do it.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
That did with my Rambo knife, and I'm like, "This is what I think about."
Oh
this.
my goodness.
Wow.
They're like,
Well,
"It's gonna get mad." I was like, "No," I was like, "This is fake." So now my son, he like every time he's with a bunch of kids, he's like, "But why is the world flat and nobody knows about it?" Like he's all loud about it and proud.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
excellent question. Excellent
Yeah.
question.
So they know right now that there's stuff that they are learning that they take my word for it more than the teachers. So I'm glad my younger children, they'll believe me more than the parents because they're already used to that. They think I know everything. But
And
my old
that's a blessing. That's a blessing because the state is trying to turn that power over to
Mhm.
the authorities, take it away
Mhm.
from the parents. So it's a blessing that your children, trust you with
Yeah.
that kind of. Yeah.
but
Sorry,
my
to
old
interrupt.
no, but my old been in school for all these years, so she's now 13 and now she's out with her cousins. They're like, "Oh, guess what my dad said today?" Yeah,
Mm.
guess what my dad believes about this. So she kind of clowns on it, but she knows that I know a little bit about stuff that I'm talking about, and
Yep.
she just after being indoctrinated for so many years, she doesn't like shut it down. But at least I planted the seeds in her head, in her mind, and she's gonna be able to figure it out. She doesn't openly deny it, but she'll point stuff out to me like, "Hey, Dad, look at my book. Like they're all talking about witches, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So she's starting to put the pieces together.
Mm.
Wow. How old
Magic.
is she?
She's just turned 13,
Wow. Excellent.
so she's got a good foundation from all the reading that she
Yep.
did. When she was young. Like my daughter, man, you could put her on the pulpit and she'll talk and teach, and she has a gift of speaking and doing that kind of stuff, But just recently, she's being influenced by her teenage cousins who, they got boyfriends. They're all like, "Why does your dad homeschool you? What's wrong? What's wrong with going to a regular school? And we have fun, and there's nothing wrong. They don't make us wear this stuff. They don't, nobody's getting sick." I'm like, yeah,
For now.
Yeah.
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 I'll let her, put it together. So I'll just be there to guide her along the way. I don't want to force her, it's like, but then you get the whole rebellious teenager on you, and I'm not. But it gotta be.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It kind of made me think about it when I was, looking through these so-called faith-based curriculum, and I don't think they'll ever catch up and teach biblical cosmology. So I think it's very important. I'm going to, introduce my daughter to it just so she's aware of what it is, because I don't want to militantly program her with one thought process. I don't want to, I want her to be able to defend herself, if someone, presents something with her with the globe model, so that she's aware of it, but to teach her like, yeah, this is it. Like, now she's going to be introduced to biblical cosmology, and she already, kind of talks about it like, "Mommy, we're not spinning." I'm like, "Yes, I know, baby. It's crazy, right?" So she's funny.
No, I just think it's good to just give her like you said, a broad based, education, because if she goes to college, she's going to have to be like, they want you to be able to, state your thesis, defend your,
Absolutely.
right, with
Like,
whatever
critical
right, and back it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. So I want to give her that, foundation to be able to do that, to
Mhm.
understand that there's different viewpoints, and
Mhm.
to figure out what doesn't make sense about a particular,
Yep.
viewpoint.
Absolutely. Yep.
Why does that not make sense?
Why does that not make sense? Right.
Right.
I'm with you.
Why? Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm new to this whole thing, but I'm figuring it out. I'm working it out in my head. I have a passion for learning. I did exceptionally well in school. I remembered a lot of things. And that's really what public school is: repetition and memory. Blah blah blah. I was pretty good at remembering stuff, and then get to calculus in my senior year. Like,
yeah,
dang, I really didn't learn much, did I? Like, and I just don't want my baby to go through that experience, that wow moment.
Oh, look
that
at
I
that
did.
casino. That's terrible. I
Wow.
hate casinos so bad.
They stink
It's
too.
just that whole vibe is just not good.
Yeah, I know. I'm not liking this. This is not
Ugh.
my.
Yeah,
Nah.
they stink. People just in there, just kind of just out of it. Just got this spirit over them. You can just,
It really does. Yeah.
just feel
What?
it.
What are you guys doing out here?
Wow. I was going to tell you. I just remembered the name of the school that my family used. I think it was called Connections Academy.
I've definitely heard of that. Connections.
Yeah. And apparently that's the
Yeah.
one I was telling you, where there's all these famous actors and skaters and stuff on their webpage apparently went
Yep.
there.
They
That's the
promote it.
one. Yep.
I've heard of that. Okay.
And those kids just like a whole nother level. That's all I can tell you. It's like, yeah. So, but anyway, I did hear like about the people trying to do the homeschooling in the middle of the year, due to 2020. And I did hear that, but I think a lot of the parents, what the common complaint that I heard was they weren't used to actually helping their kids with their schoolwork. So it made the parents more accountable than maybe they were before.
Yeah.
because a lot of them were saying, I don't know how to, add I can't do the math. Excuse me. And I would just like, I kind of laughed because I said, oh my goodness. But it was like, see, to me, third grade math, if you can't do third grade math as a grown up, then you're in trouble. Like,
For
honestly.
sure.
I mean, I
Sure.
don't mean to be mean, but like, I'm just going to, I'll give it to you straight. You should be able to do third or fourth or fifth grade math. And if you can't, then shame on you,
I agree.
Shame
I
on you.
agree. Once it gets past a certain point, I'm gonna seek,
Yeah.
assuming we're still here, because
Right.
shoot, those years down the line, not even promised for real, but
Right.
just- yeah,
Yep.
but
So,
I'll seek some type of external program. But yeah,
right.
if
I
you
mean,
can't
tutoring. Yeah. There's
fourth,
nothing
fifth
wrong.
grade math, then
Right. Nothing wrong with
Yo.
calling in a tutor. Yeah. I mean, if you have to, it's all good. You know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah.
some kids excel in some subjects and some in others. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that, some people can do it all, but not everybody can, and you might need a little help and etc. But that's okay.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
There is a different kind of math they're doing these days. The grouping of numbers when you add, like there's a certain way they're adding numbers, and it's confusing.
Comic
Yeah,
Core?
a lot of people, find that. My daughter showed me. I had to learn that for myself, but she could solve a problem faster by doing that.
Oh,
than-
really?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes a lot. It doesn't, because I learned the other way. It doesn't make sense exactly, but then it does make sense because it breaks down the numbers. It goes, the thousands, the hundreds, the the double digits, and then the singles, and that's how you group it. So that way, whenever you add up the numbers, you don't mess up. With that carrying the one and doing all that stuff. Sometimes you no, that's it. But I'm talking about when you have big numbers, Denise. It's like when like they like it the way that they group the numbers. You can add like six figured numbers, and even though they're not what's the word I'm trying to say, they're not even numbers. You know what I mean? Like they can add 123,475 plus 20,427 plus 125, and then they can add it, and they'll get the answer within like 30 seconds by doing it.
Really?
Yes, they can. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to do math like that, looking at the numbers like that.
But
So I'm
you'll
gonna
be
have to
just
learn that.
yeah, learn that. I would say if I were you, you should learn that right away, and then you'll be able to help your daughter out.
Okay.
Yeah, but I figured it out, and like I was like a so-so math person, and then I really didn't learn math until I was like probably a freshman in college. That's when it all kind of came together for me. I went and then I was like right like that, you know what I mean? But
I'm still
yeah.
not that great in math, so I'm gonna work hard.
Yeah,
on
make
the
sure
math
you
thing.
get on there. You can help her out, But once you figure it out, you're gonna go, oh, okay. Why didn't we learn this way? You're gonna say that, I think. Mm-hmm.
It didn't work out for me that way. I could learn. I didn't put the effort behind learning the new way they do it. I'm lucky. My children, for some reason, they have a gift of math.
Yep.
So they'll look at double digit numbers, and like my kindergartner, double digit numbers, and she'll do it in her head quick on her own.
Yep.
So where she's like faking it. The teacher's telling them they got to do it a certain way, but she's doing it on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And I just left it alone. I'm like, all right, you got it. I'm not even going to try to learn it, but I should, because I know it's going to get a little bit more complex, and then I won't be able to help out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anyway, so that's my humble opinion on that one. But it does help because because I used to see the thing with me in math when I was younger. When I would carry, I would always screw it up. If you have a number,
Yeah, if you don't put that number in the right spot, you're screwed.
and I would do that all the time, Not that I didn't know how to add it. I would just put it in the wrong spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep, and that ruins the entire model.
And it ruins the whole thing.
Mistake.
Yep. And they also want you to show the work, and that's the other thing. They want the people to show the work. how you
Such a
got to the
bugaboo.
answer.
Such a
Right.
bugaboo.
I know it's a big thing. Yeah. It's like, it's like things like that. Like I said, it's just as long as you have your daughter, using her brain, thinking about things just a little bit, push her just a little bit more, you know, just a little bit. Because like I said, public school I think is, well, for me it was fairly easy. It was too easy. And so yeah. But for not everybody it's like that. But for me it was too easy and I wasn't pushing myself. Yeah. So
What for Chadwick? What song is this? I gotta in the air tonight. What song is this?
oh, that's Phil Collins.
Oh,
Phil Collins. Yep.
clowning on my mullet, man. On paper, my teachers have it down. Either way, I was able to. Okay.
Wow.
My cousin teaches third grade, and when I brought up the math, she was telling me, she was like, "No, there's a reason why. We changed that, so you got to make sure you got it down." I was like, "Okay, I see." I just left it alone, like I said, but yeah, I got to learn that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't want you like to blurt out the answers. See, that's like a because they want the other kids to figure it out on their own. So if you go, it's 5, and then it's like, oh,
And the other kids would be like, yeah, it's 5.
right, you know what I mean? Like, so that's the whole thing. And see, like I said, some people are just, they're sitting in class and they're bored, and that's bad. Yeah. Phil Collins. Yep. Oh, I always got marked down for not showing my work. Yeah, see, that's the thing. They always want you to show that because they just want to make sure that right that you're not cheating or whatever, or that you understand, the concepts. Yep.
Yeah, I love how like Uncle Paranoia you're saying because you're Christian, so am I, and what I like about the school, like there's things that they'll teach. They got to cover a certain book or whatever, and my 5-year-old told her daughter straight up, like, "I don't think I can read this." And the teacher's like, "Why? Do you need help?" And she goes, "Well, my dad says that all magic is evil, and you're talking about magic, and I don't think my dad's
Ooh,
Oh.
her." And I
for
was
her. Wow.
on
Oh,
the side,
fiery.
Yes.
yeah, I wasn't on screen. I was sitting next to her. I was nodding my head like,
They were probably like that behind the scenes.
Wow.
But what was cool is the teacher respected it. She goes, "Well, you know what? If you're not comfortable with it, it's okay." She didn't have to participate. So I was like, "That's cool."
Right,
I
yeah,
like,
that was cool.
yeah, she handled that better than I thought it was because I was like, "All right, it's gonna get awkward real quick with that teacher," but that's one of the benefits, the homeschool.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. My daughter is 4. She's already beginning to identify witchcraft in her cartoons. And if
Oh
she
yeah.
sees something that's the least bit like with magic or anything, she'll say, "Mommy,
Mhm.
can we turn that off? I don't like that." She said, "We praise Jesus." And so she'll
Wow.
say, and she'll ask me to turn it off.
Okay.
And I didn't really do that. I just kind of
I
explained like what stuff is.
I think
I
you
was
did.
never I wasn't really militant, like, no, we can't watch that. But I kind of taught her to identify it. But now
Mhm.
she's at the point where she doesn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
And
No,
I'll
I
be
think
like,
that's great. I mean, well, I'll
all
just
right,
give you.
baby, I'll cut it off.
It's great. Well, they see. Here's the thing. Like my kids came up during the, those big thick books that they were shoving down everybody's throats.
Mm-hmm.
The 5 series or 7. I don't remember how many there were, but there were a lot of them. And I was like annoyed by it because I said, "Oh man, this is like deep. This is some deep stuff." You know what I mean? Like they shoved it down your throat in so many ways. And then it became this huge phenomenon. And I was just like, they are pushing witchcraft down people's
Yes, like
and
like crazy.
like crazy. And these kids are young, and my goodness. And my family thought I was insane because I said, I am not reading that garbage. Like, that's what I told them.
I'm currently going through it now. Now
Yeah.
I'm a psycho,
Yeah.
Bible thumper, but I'm like, that's obviously witchcraft. Like,
Obviously. Yeah. But I lost that battle because the schools were reading it and the teachers, and it was a big deal when my kids were coming up.
Mm.
Yeah.
It'll be witchcraft or the whole gay agenda thing that they're pushing.
Yeah, that's all over the place. Yeah.
yeah.
I
Oh,
haven't heard from my children, so I'm like,
Yep.
we'll see how my children if they pick up on that.
hmm
Miss Masley said Harry Potter. Yeah, I think some public schools they have them read
Yeah,
Harry Potter in school.
they do. Yep. Yeah, I was trying to so my kids were like in elementary school when that came out. They were pretty young. And in like lower elementary school. And when they were and I think one of them, got a book. Somehow they ended up getting one of them. And I said, let me just see what's in this book. And I couldn't even read it. Like it was just like garbage. Like I just couldn't. It was just it was garbage because it was just so many. It was just blah 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 blah. blah. Like, that's all I heard was the wah. Charlie Brown, like reading it. I just
Charlie Brown.
I couldn't read it. Like it just And then I said, man, this is all witchcraft. And I was like, nope. Yeah. So anyway, but I feel like I'm the only one that felt that way in this stupid country. Like I felt like I was the only one who hated those books. But yeah, everybody loved them, and I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
No, that's because ignorance on the subject has run amok.
Yes.
It's just over
Yeah.
everybody. So now that we're, with the homeschool model, you have the freedom to teach them how to identify these things, because you can't send your child to Rome and expect them not to come back Roman.
That is so true.
Hammered with it all day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just how it is. And now, I'm just so grateful, that I don't know. I'm just so grateful that I've been filled with the Holy Spirit, to have the ability to identify these things and have the will to want to educate my child on it and want her, to steer away from it, at least have a fighting chance in this world, because as time goes by, the wickedness is going to increase. And the Bible tells us knowledge is going to increase, but that doesn't necessarily mean good knowledge. It could be it could be Gnosticism or, this enlightenment thing.
Yeah.
Which we see that is increasing. So yeah, that definitely counts as knowledge. So it's up to us to teach them how to identify these things, because it matters. I mean, even though the consensus feels as though it doesn't matter, but it does. Eternity matters.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that, just being grateful that, you have the Holy Spirit to discern that there's evil in the school system and that you want to do something about it, because I feel like it's such a big cop out. People know that you can home. They just know that there's work behind it, and they're so damn lazy and comfortable.
Exactly, that's what it is.
Yeah.
They're not. They don't see it as a problem because they're in their comfort zone. They don't see it as a problem sending their kids off to be raised by another person who you have no idea what they're from. Their values that they have, and they're instilling this into your children. And people, like I was saying earlier, there's other parents in our family who are looking at me like you're late. You just don't want to go get a regular job. I'm like, no. We made an agreement, that my wife would work and I would run the business from homeschool, because we give a damn.
Yes.
Because we don't need somebody else teaching my kids foolishness.
Yep.
So
we're missing a lot of that. You're breaking up pretty bad.
That we're being lazy, and they kind of chuckled and laughed like it's not a manly. Oh man, sorry. I'm in a different part of the building now.
Man,
I was saying that. Can you hear me good?
Okay.
Oh, okay. How's this? No.
Yeah, I think you're back now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you were getting into that fire too. Nick started cutting you right out. Soon as
Exactly.
I was saying I have a mentor who teaches, men got to be men, and I appreciate that. But then when I made the decision to be a stay-home dad, work from home, and raise my children and school my children, he clowned on it in front of the other men in the office,
Oh wow.
saying,
Wow.
"Oh, we got somebody here who's a stay-home dad," and they chuckled. They all laughed, and I was like, you know what? It's like we're all in business together, but f all of you.
Wow.
If you're gonna tell I'm not a man because I don't go to a regular job
That's
and
crazy.
get my hands dirty because whatever. It's like, if I feel like my children are in danger, by this, foolishness that they teach, then I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I think it's stupid that people, will define a man or call somebody less of a man that they made the decision to stay home as a stay home dad and, run a business from home and all that stuff that we did. But I was like, it's just kind of just ignorance that people have, towards this thing. To me, I think it's just a cop out again. You know, for you to spend the time to raise your child and teach your child, that's honorable to me.
Yeah, I think so too. And then if you're like okay, so I'll throw something out here. So if you if you're like a conspiracy theorist, or if you I've noticed something about public school education, and what I've noticed is it seems like, well, there's two things that are kind of going on. Like, how you had mentioned that there's like a breakdown in the family, and if you think about like the scheduling of most work, like it really takes you away from your family for a very long period of the day.
The
So you
better
really
part of
don't.
the day too.
Yeah, like yes, right, and it's like the best part, like when they're
The
when
best
your
part.
kids are, yeah, when your kids are up and awake and everything,
Yep.
and so there's that going on, and then public school, they're in there for a fair number of hours a day, also away from you, so they're getting all these influences that way. So I really think like the whole work environment and the school environment really does sort of break down the family in a way,
Yeah.
you know, and I didn't really think about it until I said, and so anyway, so I lost my job at one point. And when I lost my job, I hate to say that was almost one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I actually got my life back. Like I felt like I didn't have my own life. I just felt like there were all these forces kind of forcing me to be here, be there, do their dirt and all this stuff. And yeah, so anyway, when I had all this spare time on my hands, I was kind of noticing that school does take the kids away from the parents, and then you're away at work usually before this whole 2020 happened. But the only good thing is 2020. I mean, it did sort of bring people back together, maybe unplanned.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, but definitely, I think people have to like now deal with their kids. Like, what a concept!
People even had to deal with their marriages. They were
And,
forced to
right?
actually deal with their too.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep,
Yep.
yep. So it's very interesting. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of what I noticed about just being home and doing stuff. And I said, yeah, I can actually like go to the bathroom right now if I want. I mean, I'm not like TMI, but it's like
Yeah,
it's not.
that's what it is though, because you can't really go to the bathroom while you're on the clock for real. Not really.
Yeah, like
You,
because then they think you're doing something wrong. I'm just
yeah,
like, you just go into the bathroom.
yeah, you're right. Real is real. It is what it is. Because I feel the
It's
same way.
crazy.
Like I feel guilty about it being snatched away during the better part of my child's day. Now she's 4 years old, and I'm like, man, all
Yep.
I do is work during the day.
Yes.
Now I work 10-hour shifts,
Right.
and so now it's like,
It's crazy.
man, I mess around to get a husband. I'm gonna be a whole new woman. I'm trying to tell you, like, because I want to dedicate myself to the development of my child. Like,
Yeah. And you need to find one that has
yeah, that feels the
similar.
same. Yeah,
It feels the same.
I
Similar.
agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So anyway, I don't know if that's crazy, but But I just kind of like one day I said, "Dang, this whole life is kind of set up in a way that's not good for people, right?" And like I went to South America, and the one thing that they did down there was they did the 3 hour lunch, so that they would spend 3 hours with their kids during the peak times. Yeah, so they would shut down from like 11 to 2, almost 11 to, yeah, well, almost four, not quite 4 hours, but it'd be like 3.5 hours. And like business would shut down from 11 to 2 every day. And people would go home, have a meal with their families and hang out and then go back to work.
Wow.
And then work till like 6, 7. Mm-hmm. And I said, boy, this is actually a good idea because, you know, you got to spend more time during the day with your kids. You know, and you got a good meal for lunch. You weren't eating garbage, junk and things like the siesta. That's right. Yep. Yeah. That was an awesome thing. Who knew? Yeah. Who knew?
Wow, that's dope. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
They there's, I mean, the different cultures, man. They cherish the family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the islands, the prisoners, they get out of jail on Sunday. And
Wow.
Wow.
they go to church with their family.
What?
Then they go back to jail.
What?
Wow.
That's got to be
That's
terrible.
interesting.
That's got to be terrible. Like,
They
I wanna
conclude that, but
wow.
that because they value 99% of Samoans are Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very rare that you meet a Samoan who doesn't believe in God.
Yeah.
And so they value that thing. So I think it's just we're just in a world that has different values, man.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, they're in control, but thank God we have the alternatives.
Yeah. Yep. And I'll tell you one more story. So my school district got mad that I was homeschooling because they had to pay, the taxes went to paying for it. So they were like, "We're losing all that money," and I think it was about $3,500 or something per student that they were losing in tax money and revenue, and they were mad, about that. And the superintendent, would call the house periodically and say, "Are you going to continue to homeschool?" And I'm like, "Yes."
You're
Well,
breaking our system here, ma'am. You're breaking
yeah,
the
yes,
system.
yeah, right. And they were like, but aren't you worried about their socialization? I said, I have two,
Yeah,
well, I have one really social child, really, really social. The other one is okay, not as good, but whatever, she's very, very social. So I said, I'm not worried about that one. Oh, she's good. I said, plus we were doing, like I said, karate and stuff like that, bowling. And then there was a homeschool. This was what I was going to tell you. There was a homeschool group that would meet we would meet on Fridays and go bowling. And the bowling alley gave us discounts. So we could bowl like 10 games for like $2. They really, really made it cheap for us.
Nice.
So we would go, yeah, $2, which is really good. Because usually it's like it used to be like 2 something a game, or $3 a game. But we could and then they did free instruction with one of the workers there. It actually showed the kids how to bowl.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah, it was free. And so that was just like one example. But so my kids had socialization with a bunch of kids. Like I think the group had like 15 in it or 12. So, and they were all varying ages, but they were within, 3 or 4 years of each other. So it was fine. So we had more social actually being homeschooled than they were in school.
um,
Yeah.
And that's always the main gripe. What about socialization?
I know. I'm like,
You
shut
have
up.
no idea. Like you
It
have
doesn't.
no idea.
So anyway, but they were fine. Yeah. And
yeah,
then, but you'll make up for it.
that's the number one thing people say. They're concerned when they see that we're homeschooling. Like my mother-in-law, uh, daughter, she's going back to regular school, and I'm like, I never said that to you. And she went and told that to my mother-in-law, my in-laws are the pastors, and she like announced it in church. She was so happy. She was like, I can't. She's like, I'm so happy. First, she's gonna go back to school and see friends and have be able to socialize. I'm like, I never said that. I'm like, why are you announcing that to church? Like, why are you talking about that? uh, it just shows even people who are in authority positions and stuff, they don't understand. And when it comes to the socialization, like if you think that your kids need school to make friends, something's wrong. They should be able to make friends anywhere.
Anyway,
Yeah,
Right.
anyway, my
that's
brother hit me with that day before yesterday. He literally hit me when
Wow.
I had first introduced the idea to my brother that lives out in Texas. He's older, frat guy, blah blah blah, company man. So
Yep.
fully into the system, probably
Oh yeah.
vaccinated, but
Oh
yeah. But I love my brother, but he's in the V system. It is what it is. So I was
Been
talking
there,
to him
done
about it.
that. Yeah.
Right. So the first thing that comes out of his mouth is just like a programmed cadence. But
Yep.
the social aspect and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, wait. I'm like, so let's think about this critically, because this is what I'm trying to teach my daughter. What exactly are they learning from their peers socially? Like, what benefits do they have here? I'm like, let's brainstorm this. Let's just throw a couple ideas out there. Like, so, how to masturbate,
Porn.
porn, the rainbow flag, critical race theory, the white man did this, you're a victim, slavery.
More
This is what this is what they're learning. This socially. And then, popularity thing, you're measured on, how many people are around you, what you're wearing, especially if the school doesn't wear uniforms. That's a social pressure that I can do without. So what
Absolutely.
exactly are they gaining? Because all that gets eliminated out. So he's just, then when you bring these things to a leftist, you kind of see their like the I don't know, like their circuits kind of get broken and they kind of and they don't really
they
you
can't say
kind of
anything.
programming is broken. Yeah, they can't say anything. So he was looking like, oh, okay. And then, that was just the end of that conversation. I'm like, yeah, I said I was going to homeschool and not go live on a farm by myself, which not living on a farm is not a bad thing, but I'm not going to go live in a cave. How about that? I said I was going to homeschool, not go live in a cave. Karen.
There you go. Well, that's about it. Yep. That's hilarious.
That's why I love posting like 11 in the morning, and like I'm out with my kids doing stuff. You know what I mean? We're going fishing, we're going to the park, just taking a walk while people are in their cubicles.
It's amazing. I mean, that's the biggest thing that I said, wow, this is awesome. They can go out and do stuff.
Yeah, like we can literally go shopping and you can have them talk to the cashier, have them hand the money over.
Absolutely.
Count the money and do what they have to do, like hands-on learning. Like I'm just having all these thoughts. My baby's only 4, but I'm like, man, all the stuff you could do.
Yes.
To just
so many things.
Get them, push them out in the world. You can actually push them out and have them speaking to people. And my daughter already does that. Speaks to them and, just she doesn't care who it is. She'll do whatever.
That's great. Yeah, that's wonderful. Oh,
I have good friends in business.
She's not afraid. One thing, she's not afraid of with talking to doctors either. Like she told
that's
doctor,
good.
like, yeah, I don't like needles, I don't like shots. And so sorry to cut you off. I just had that thought, like, man, she's something else. My bad, watch me.
I mean, children that are raised that way, people need to know that they're special kind of children when they are brought up right in the homeschooling model. When it's utilized correctly, the kinds of kids that come out of it, phenomenal. The reason why I did homeschooling is because I have friends who are pastors and business partners of mine in San Francisco, and their children, by the time they were 12, they owned vending machines and operated vending machines and soda machines all around the city, and they were just racking up money, and they understood the concept of business and how it works, and they were just completely business minded. And I'm looking at them like, they're probably a bunch of it. They don't have no friends. All they have is each other. No, these guys, they're the kind of people you want to in this kind of business. They're great children, smart. And, they don't take no crap from nobody. I love the way that they work.
Great. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think like it's it's good and like they think for themselves. They're looking ahead to the future. See, that's stuff like that you can talk to them about. You can talk to them about life. Your family. Like I think we did an ancestry. It's sort of like a DNA, not a DNA thing, but it's like chasing your ancestry, things like that. Interviewing family members. I mean, there's all kinds of projects you can do.
Yeah.
Even as a young child.
Oh yeah. My children, they do their chores and
Yep.
cooking. They're cooking for.
Yep.
I know it sounds like slavery right now, but they're learning. They garden.
Yep.
They're doing all kinds of little things. But yeah,
And that's amazing. I mean, that's great. That's a great skill to have.
We're eating out of our garden now. New thing for all of us, but my children love it.
That's
Pick it.
awesome.
Free
That's
center.
wonderful.
Oh man, it's pretty cool.
Wow.
That's dope.
Yep.
That's an integral skill that a lot of adults don't have. Don't
Yep.
know the first thing about growing food,
That's correct.
and
Yep.
that was a common skill that not even that long ago. That was a common skill for adults to know how to grow food. So the power
Yeah.
is just taken away from us ever since we were all introduced to the public school model and the cadence of just memorization and just
Mm-hmm.
serve the state.
Yep. That's pretty much what we're doing. Yep.
Even that's under attack. My brother lives in Orange County, which is right next to LA County. He
Mm-hmm.
had to ask for permission from his city to grow potatoes and carrots in his backyard. Are you freaking serious?
It's amazing. Yeah.
Where you said where at again?
Orange County, which is weird because they're mainly a conservative community. I mean,
Right.
I don't know why that happened in his city, but his city got the La Palma in Orange County, right next to Anaheim. He has to ask permission. I don't know. He writes a letter or what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can't plant seeds if you don't have them. That's oppression, man. That's straight up.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm not too surprised because in some areas you can't collect rainwater either.
What? Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know why? They don't want you to study what's in the water.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly.
Those free lunches in the park, they don't let you take it home because they don't want you to know what's in it. They get mad at you if I pack one of the sandwiches. My daughter didn't eat a sandwich. I'm like, we'll take it home. She's like, no, you can't do that, sir. I'm like, what the hell? Like, you gave it to me.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah. Like you want to just throw it away? Like that's wild, B.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, you're just gonna throw it away?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Take it. That is weird.
Very weird. Oh yeah, but the other thing I was gonna say is like I think public school also kind of makes you into like a robot. That really rigid schedule. Like I think it just like it like dumbs you down. That's what I was trying to say earlier. I don't know how to say it, but like dumbs you down. You become a robot. And they
It's
say
like
that
a prison schedule.
it's like a prison, right? It's prison.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
The bus is designed just like the bus that takes you to prison, takes
That's
you to
true.
actual jail.
Mhm.
The cafeteria is designed just like the
the prison.
sliding you straight through, just like the prison.
Yeah,
Just
that's true.
like it. Then you got the bell that leads
Yep.
the kids to the next subject.
Yep.
Just like the bell in jail leads the inmates to their next job if they decide to work a job there. Just like it. It's the same model.
It is the
nuts.
same model.
The
But here's
food,
the other
grass.
thing that's really crazy. Somebody said that the bell erases your memory, that it sort of blocks the memory. And I went, so somebody, if you guys can do some research, I don't remember where the heck I heard that, but I kind of went,
Wow, that is frightening. Hold on,
It
you're gonna
is
have me look
frightening.
that up.
So please, yeah. So you guys,
Look that up.
that's why, yeah, Miss Maskless. I hated school. Yeah, I mean, it was just like prison. Absolutely. Yeah. But anyway, that just like it. When I heard that, I went, "Oh my god!" Like in other words, they're kind of saying that these people don't really want you to learn anything, and that was the other point I was trying to get to. Like public school you get the bare minimum, but you know, it doesn't let you critically think. Yeah. And so yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But I cannot remember where I heard that, and it just blew my mind. And I said, "Oh, wow!" Very few things make me speechless, and that was one of them about the bell.
Yeah, that just kind of threw me all off. I'm like, well, that makes sense because I remember the way a school bell used to make me feel once I
Yes,
heard it. Then we kind of just go straight into this. All right, I gotta hurry up and get to the next class. Gotta hurry
exactly,
up, get my book. Like I remember how that bell made me feel. So it
absolutely.
kind of makes sense. Like it must be a certain frequency or a certain decibel
Hmm.
that hits the inner ear to,
Yep.
because that's all connected. Your ear, your
Yep.
brain, all that,
Hmm.
cochlea, all that's connected.
Hmm.
So that wow, that makes a lot of sense.
So
I
homeschool your kid.
wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
You brought it back full circle. That's what we started off the stream talk. You know,
Yeah.
the hidden
Wow.
that are being. Because I was talking about how there's frequencies, there's sounds that can be played in a certain frequency that adults, but children can. And I was like wondering, I was like, what if there's children's programming that we watch and we don't hear nothing wrong with it, but there's something there that's played in a frequency that only the children can hear, that
Hmm.
lulled
Yeah.
into.
As to why children are addicted to that cocoa melon program, because there's something in the frequency that has
Mm.
them hooked.
Mm.
Hooked. It has to be. There's a science behind it for sure.
Hmm. Wouldn't
What?
be surprised.
Real science. The science that they don't want to teach in schools. The real
Yeah.
science.
Yeah.
Right? I'm gonna give my that questions because my plan is to go let them go to the private high school in person if they earn it. You know, they're my teenagers kind of pissing me off right now. Her attitudes. So I'm like,
Hmm.
"Hey, what the- so I'm just going through that phase right now.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, but I want to thank you guys for being on here. It's 5 in the morning for me, and we're about to get ready to go take everything to the park and get ready for barbecue. It's
Ooh.
day for our
Nice.
day of the reunion, so I'm hoping the rain comes back. It was pouring earlier, and I hope it comes
Mm.
back. I ain't trying to sit out in the sun, but yeah, really great topics. Thank you guys for being on here, man, and everybody in the chat. I thank you guys for being on. Kind of unexpected live, and I didn't expect everybody to be on here, but I thank you guys for being here. I hate to cut off because we're having a great conversation. I'm really into it, and this is awesome. Maybe we got to do it again. But thank you, Uncle Paranoia, and I bring it every day. Welcome. Thank you guys for being. You guys. I think everybody here knows each other. But go ahead and follow these guys. These guys are great. I check in on every now and then. Um, I bring it every day. I go into her chat and mess around.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Uncle Paranoia too, man. Kind of fun. But um, yeah, I'm gonna cut it off and get back up to the room and start getting ready.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks for
thanks.
having us on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good time.
So
Yep.
much. I appreciate all your input and also the awesome information. But yeah, homeschooling is the way. I believe. That's one way.
Hmm.
Thanks for your time, Miss Mansky, Salt, Zen Wayne for popping in earlier. Appreciate you guys. And continue to question everything. That's the point of my channel, just to question everything. Don't take it for face value. And
Mm.
Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior. And
Hmm.
Amen.
that's the real truth right
Yep.
Amen.
there.
Okay.
All right.
Before we finish it off,
You broke up. What'd you say?
any last points you guys want to bring up before we close it out?
Oh well, yeah, I'll say something. This was most definitely unexpected, so I enjoyed the conversation. I just had to get in once y'all started talking about homeschool since I'm so new to the entire thing, but I'm seeing the benefit already. Like me and
Hmm.
my child haven't even started, but I'm understanding the value of the model because I hate to use the word again, but our values should be prioritized because that's what's important. Family values, spiritual values, knowledge before anything. Like education should be prioritized in such a way that's going to actually benefit the child throughout their life, for them to find their skills, their real skills, and not to just learn how to, just be repetitious and stuff like that, and just to follow orders, and to, I guess, appreciate the aspect of freedom that we're all supposed to have, that we all have as humans.
That's
So-
right.
So yeah, that's that. So yeah, thanks for having me on here. It was fun, and Jesus Christ is the only truth that needs to be taught to our children.
That's right.
That's right. Amen. Amen. Oh yeah, and also last thing I'll say is you notice how there's no more praying in schools, and that's when school really went downhill. And I'll just yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big.
Mm-hmm.
They yeah, I gotta bring up something. You reminded me about something at the job. I'll bring that up in my next. But yeah, they definitely shut Jesus down. But if it was Buddha, it'd be different. Dang.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Buddha school.
Oh, yep. So thanks for having me, though. It was awesome.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna close it off. But God bless you all. You guys have a great day,
All right, y'all.
guys. See you guys soon.
Take care. See you.
All right.
Bye.